How'd you like the map that I gave you?
Very nice, yes. Very informative.
Did you get?
Yep.
Okay, everyone has minutes and.
I have an agenda, I don't have any. I took one off the table. Okay, thank you.
I'm a concerned citizen afterwards. Nobody knows.
Hi, Karen.
Hello.
Hey, take care.
You want a front seat?
Susan.
No, come front.
It does. Oh,
I put the link in the agenda for when the time comes. You can join at any time if you want.
okay, I am not seeing it in the agenda.
It's
Oh,
on the,
that's
it's,
because I have, okay, never mind, I've got the minutes and,
gotcha.
okay, perfect.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Citizens comment, any citizens comment?
I just have my, I brought a letter requesting that my liquor license, application be signed. Do I just present that now?
Sure.
Okay.
What's going on? Can we keep a copy? Just kidding.
Don't even go there.
You're wrong.
You don't even have a copy.
That was awesome.
That is such a,
I was just,
such a
Too soon,
subject.
too soon, too
It
soon.
cost me so much money.
I'm just trying to get a smile, that's all.
Oh, there we go.
Very good.
I need to get
Oh, okay.
I'll take one too.
Okay.
You signed this?
I did, yes.
Okay. Can you put this up on the, I'll put it right here.
I'm in my own head now, guess what, I almost just wrote next to my name.
First
First, I started with an F and I was like, hey, you got me thinking about it.
Oh, boy.
Is that one for?
It's not one I can see, yeah.
Is that all you need, Sharon?
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
It was a
Anything else?
pleasure.
Any other comments, no? Okay. We'll move on to to the FEMA update.
Okay, FEMA, which we have a claim with for the damage to the shoulders on the Moxie Road and for Mountain Cemetery, has pretty much pulled out of the state. They passed everything over to MEMA. I'm working with them right now. This is a rather slow and cumbersome process, and I really I'm not certain anybody knows if we'll actually even get money still at this point.
Yep.
And things just keep coming up, but, you know, I must have signed off, and you think it's done, and then something comes back. Again, today, whatever this guy brought up,
He brought this notebook up. Can I just make a comment and if you guys would consider perhaps letting the Old Canada Road go, I don't know if we can go out of sequence, just,
Well, is Matt still planning to?
Yeah, he's ready to jump in whenever, but.
Yep.
I don't know if these will take too long, but we can, I'd be happy to, yeah.
I'm just
Sure.
wondering
they're here.
to get these guys to.
So he can zoom in anytime? He's
Yeah,
ready.
just gonna text him and say.
All right,
no,
so
good.
so
Why
let's
don't
just
we finish this and I'll
let's
just-
finish the meeting,
yeah.
and
Okay,
then
yeah.
we'll continue.
So Mike Smith came in and he brought this book that is the Somerset County Main Hazard Mitigation Plan. This, updates or usurps the 2017 plan that we currently have and that we participate in. In here, there's a sheet that he wants the assessors to sign just to state that we participate in this plan. There's 26, I believe, towns and plantations involved in this, and it's basically just so that we participate in the county program.
Okay.
So,
So we'd have to review it and sign it.
right, yeah,
So each one of us will take it, review it, sign it, pass it on to the next person.
sounds good.
And we can discuss it after we've all read it.
So if he asked, to have that sheet emailed back, then we keep the book for our records. And I did get his email address for when you guys are ready to send it.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he just came with that today, he wanted to, I said, well, I'll be there at 6, I'll be there at 1 tomorrow, I'll be
Yeah.
in, so he wanted to run it right up.
So does it have anything to do with the monies refund?
It doesn't.
Probably not. So
No,
that's just-
it doesn't, I think it's separate. I didn't know that, and
Okay.
I knew exactly when I talked to him what this was, but it sounds like it's
Okay.
a different deal. A while back, I had to, sign a letter saying that, you know, our, township, our plantation is at risk for fires, which it is. I mean, you know, and, like, it's pretty obvious that it's a wildfire risk, and so, you know, a lot of that stuff. So I think this is just, that was a part of them developing this whole plan.
Right.
So, and like I say, the reimbursement is just going along, that's all. No major, problems that I'm aware of at this point, so. And I can wait for the ARPA if you wanna do Old Canada Road first, I have no issues with that.
So we'll jockey this around and we'll move on to the Old Canada Road, move 6 up to number 3, how's that?
Yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from Matt. I did tell him based on its place in the agenda, it would be around 6:20 to 6:30. He hasn't gotten back to me, so if we can just continue until he hops on and then we'll do that next, is that okay?
I'm okay with that.
ARPA, so this is something that the federal government did back in 2020 during COVID, and it had to do with the State and Local Relief Funds Act. Bottom line is, they gave municipalities money, you had to spend it in certain ways, you had to document how you spend it, you had to check in every quarter to stay current, and keep them current with what you've done or haven't done, and all this kind of stuff. Well, the last time that anybody, checked in with, the Treasury Department was in 2021. And so we were, in arrears, we had fallen off the radar. I got something from MMA saying, you know, you've gotta get on this or you're gonna lose the money. Long story short, I've spent a lot of time on this. I haven't really gotten anywhere. I do believe I'm now officially the authorized administrator. But, the bottom line is I think everybody, we need to be prepared to send the money back. Because if you don't
I was
spend
just gonna ask that, did we spend the money and do we have, how much money was it?
$3,400, and it's
Okay.
what we put towards the generator,
Yeah,
and apparently that would qualify,
yeah,
but because our
yeah.
status, it
Mhm.
has,
It was broke,
has lapsed, and
yeah.
the administrator changed. I mean, I'm still trying to chip away at it, but the deadline is December 31st, I think. And I can send you some of the stuff, the last thing they sent me. I mean, if somebody wants to pick this up, they can, but
We've already tabled the generator because of finances
Right.
till the first of the year or spring, I think we said April, so, if that's the only thing that really qualifies for it, I think we should be prepared and actually make a motion to send it back and,
I think we probably are going to have to, but I feel like we should wait until they actually say you're going to have to. I am still trying.
would we be charged interest, do you know? Okay.
No,
Then,
no. Again, anybody wants to pick it up, I find it extraordinarily time-consuming, difficult, and really almost next to impossible to negotiate, so, to figure this all out. So, and I've spent, I can't tell you how much time doing it, a lot of time. And I'm chipping away at it, I just wanna give everybody a heads up, we may end up where we're gonna have to send that money
Yeah.
back.
Is it in the email form or is it all in hard copy?
Email,
Yeah, you could forward, that to me and I can look at it and
okay, you'll love this last
help
one.
make a decision on what's that?
You'll love the last one I got.
I don't have
I
all
read
the time.
one paragraph, my mind was
Yeah.
spinning, I'm like, oh my word.
So, and then
Yeah.
put in the subject matter, something so it sticks out, because I get a lot of stuff and I just don't wanna flush it through the side, so.
Yeah,
Okay,
I feel like I'm, kind of, it bothers me, I get so frustrated, and then I say, I'm done, I can't figure this out.
Yeah.
And then I feel like, you're a quitter, and I go back at it,
No,
and I
yeah.
chug away at it, and I put in a few more hours, and, I've
it's
talked.
bureaucratic stuff, and it's not that we're not professional lobbyists.
I've reached out to MMA, I've reached out to KB cog to try to get some help with it, and nobody seems to be able to.
I mean, realistically, if it's $3,400 and we gotta come up with another $12,000 just to use that $3,400 by the generator, I don't see where that's gonna give us a
Yeah.
helping hand anyway.
It's not our money to begin with, so I
Right.
mean, I hate to give it back, but it's, that may be what it's coming to, so that's the long and short of it.
Okay.
I'll send you the stuff.
I'll read through it and see, maybe I can have something to,
I can send it to you too, if you want.
I'll look through it.
It's, just,
let's look through it as a group and then we'll
Okay.
we'll meet in the next meeting and we'll discuss whether we're gonna send it back or pursue it, maybe somebody else sees something that.
Okay, Matt is with us if we're
Okay.
moving on.
Sure, we'll move on.
Susan, can you hop on that, Zoom call? Put it on the screen.
So let me get to the agenda.
Just click that one now. I apologize. There you go.
Oh, yes, it's too small. Okay,
And you're gonna wanna move it over to that screen.
right, okay.
Oh, a little bit to it. Actually, it's up. Okay, we'll look in.
Well, I thought about that last night with the TV, but. Yes. Right.
There you go, and then I'll hit quick history.
Oh, for yourself, okay. Oh, got it.
If you click him, it should.
I think you're gonna have to sign out of yours.
Mute.
With the throw button.
I turn this around?
No, this is, I'm gonna turn that down. I'm gonna show, he knows these guys. I'm gonna use mine for his audio.
Okay.
I'll put it in the middle here so all the assessors can hear what he's saying. Matt, are you with us?
Not responding.
Matt, I think you're muted.
Hello?
Muted. No.
You're on YouTube.
M-U-T-E-D.
Hey, how's it going?
There you go.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. I can't hear you, however.
Can't hear us.
How about now?
Hello?
Yeah, you can.
Thanks.
All right,
So
now we're all
what
set.
can he see?
He can see what this is pointing at. This
Oh,
one,
right here.
that's his video, this
Oh, you
is.
can see, hi Matt. So what I thought I would do is I'll just give a brief description of the overall project, and then you could jump in and talk about the commitment letters and such. Sound good? Okay.
Denise.
Yeah, no, Denise heard this already, but for anybody that didn't, is anybody else not familiar with this National Scenic Byway, Old Canada Road grant? Are you familiar with this at all? Oh, okay. Charles, are you familiar with it? Okay, yeah. So, it's a pair of bookends idea, where this is the CE ball field, doing some improvements on the town West Forks property there. If you look at this, this is the big Brookfield parking area for access, but we're looking at improvements in the back part here, like a visitor facility with shade and information. And at this trailhead site, we're doing basically the similar kind of things, only not a large shade structure, but a smaller kiosk type structure like this, the one in Jackman. And then also, these photos here show information that people would get there, the byway map, historic information, and also recreational information, something about the Kennebec River and about what they would find on the trail system. Over here, I have some images of some amenities. And so we've included, right now, there's no designated anything really except for a helipad, which was recently mowed, but that stays intact. We have parking here and here now that's designated so people can find it. This is more for uses specific for the river here. There's a small area right here for handicap access, and that gives you direct, like parking, just get information kiosk. And then this is trail user parking, so we kind of organize it and set it up that way. The trail exists now this way, comes through, and it comes through here. So the idea is, the town portion of it is the roadway, and CMP owns this land. And there's a existing agreement for the trail that this falls under. And we have a letter from CMP saying that they're okay with these improvements as well. So that's it in a nutshell. And then I had done some quick studies myself showing, okay, this is where the parking, how it might be organized with some kiosks. And then the idea of the guardrail is very straightforward for people. They'll see that, they know, oh, that's a parking area, and this is an improved site, and I'll be inclined to pull in there.
The road, the direction, the road.
Yeah, we're looking at, like, the idea is you pull in here, this is a one-way road, kind of works that way. There'd be a big space right here, so there'd be a little bit of clearing to make sure that, commercial trailers and commercial vehicles that are larger size, that can't park here, they could,
Stage.
thank you, stage, right, sorry, it's late. This is a good staging area so that you can have access to this, so this doesn't get jammed up. And ideally, there'd be some improvements down here too, to this is really kind of a mess down there, really could be a nice spot.
Is that where the takeout is for tubing, is that?
Tubing.
Yeah, right.
The Lower River takeout, tubing, fishing,
Yeah,
or you can put in there and go down to the lake as well.
Yeah, so that's, I have not used it, but I've got good sources that say
I'm
this
just
is
trying to-
highly used, right?
figure out where.
Right, so the idea for this has been in the works for a while, and people could use it, but it really is, I recently saw 2 examples of people going in and not really knowing what's going on and then leaving. So we have this great opportunity to bring visitors in here, and also the locals really much better use of this whole site. So in this grant, this federal highway grant for scenic byways, the idea is to look at these two sites kind of working together in the Forks area, with visitor improvements that make sense for the communities and for all the visitors too.
What is the cleared
So-
area on the right?
This,
No, no, on the right.
Cemetery.
That's the cemetery.
oh yeah, that's the
That's
cemetery.
the cemetery?
Yes,
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
cemetery's right there, so there's nothing happening there.
Yeah,
That's
no,
based
I
on-
just
yeah.
couldn't identify what that was. So that trail is going, past the cemetery, and what is the loop up at the top, right there?
Right
You
there,
said
there's
that's
a, there's a
currently,
loop, there's a loop there now. And so I didn't design anything for this at
right,
this point, but we would do improvements there to add some additional parking space and staging area here, and just make a safer and cleaner access point to the water.
is this for a put-in or take-out, Jenny? I'm-
It's just, it's already there, we already use it like,
We,
for both, sure.
we take out, a lot down where that helipad thing is, you know,
Right.
but I don't ever go in there to pick anyone up, so I'm not quite sure where we do it currently, but, you know, we park there and walk down,
Yeah, it could be there, usually that's the best access. If you take on this side, there's a lot of like poison ivy and stuff like that on the
Right.
river's edge.
Quite a
So,
hill there, too.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't get down there unless you have four-wheel
Yeah, so
Right.
typically people use that area, and also I heard you say parking, the other part was to make that not parking, if that was part of it too, more just a pickup and drop off.
Yeah, this is, right, but
Right.
if
It's all
I'm dropping
conceptual
off,
at this point.
but you need a little bit more space in here. There's vegetation overgrowing, so just a little bit of work would, and, groundwork and some vegetation removal, I
Nice.
think you could get an extra cart. I could come around here and stop here and somebody could get by me,
right,
instead of jamming up the
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah, there's a major mud puddle
Right.
all summer long right there.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
that would get fixed, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, and there's a big tree in the way, so you would do,
Yeah.
there'd be some minor improvements, some cutting, that sort of thing for the whole roadway system, so it's really nice and easy to use, it's not mud holes and all of that, yeah. And a big portion of the,
what is that road that's coming from?
this one,
Yeah, to the edge, what is that?
That's the cemetery road.
cemetery, right, pops out right here on Route 2.
Right across from
Dewsbury.
From my house.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay.
easy to miss.
Larry,
Right now,
at
Mike,
one
Mike,
point,
this work, cause you can see it, okay.
yeah, at one point, Old Canada Road was considering a kiosk in the ball field, is that in lieu of this?
That's like, we're taking that idea and we're repeating that, but doing a little bit more improvements with that. And I've changed that, that was like a small interpretive kiosk like Jacqueline, but the idea here is that we're really looking hard at making it a shade structure that can be used for like a gathering place. If you come off the river, you need to eat, you could go down there if you're a visitor or live in the community and have a picnic or something like that.
Community-
Guide training there.
Community events.
But it's not, but it's in lieu of the one in the ball field,
No,
or is
there's
it?
both,
There's
two.
two.
Okay.
There's two
Yeah, yeah.
projects, yeah.
Yeah, it's two separate projects, two different sites, right, so, but I think it's important to see that, from the bigger perspective, they're working together, that's the
So
idea.
that one's the ball field.
Right, this is ball field,
Oh.
yeah, so, here's the river, I had to cut this off because I made a mistake.
That's okay.
But yeah, but that's the Brookfield, here's the big takeout right there.
Okay, gotcha.
And
Yeah.
that building,
Sorry, yeah.
that's just proposed,
Yeah,
correct?
and that's
Just
just,
an idea.
Yeah.
right, it's the idea of it,
Mhm.
and, it's a little gigantic on scale, but I wanted to, you know,
Yeah.
you get the idea. This was another one that I pulled up that I thought, oh, something like that would also work in
Right.
this spot too.
Right,
And then this is,
But
That's
there's
a
a
little-
kiosk over here as well.
okay,
right, so here there's a smaller kiosk, you have to get up close to see it, but,
and that one's going to be not at the helipad, okay.
yeah, it would be
Right.
at the helipad and right here.
Mm-hmm, okay,
And you can kind of rough one in right
Yeah.
there, tiny little thing.
that's
So
nice.
people would be able to be driving by, they'd see that and they're like, whoop, I gotta stop in there.
What about bathroom facilities?
I was
That's
just
been my
gonna say,
biggest
the
concern.
restroom.
Yeah,
I
so,
asked ages ago,
Maine
years
DOT
ago,
does
I
not do
asked about
restrooms,
the
but we'll
ones
give
that
you an
were
information
taken out.
shed, and that would be right here. So the trail parking, and then I tucked it right in there.
Okay,
It's essentially a structure that houses your standard porta potties, but in a neater
Right.
manner. They're
right.
covered.
Well, there were always porta potties on the trail, at the parking lot, the CMP parking lot on the Dead River.
Oh,
Right.
right, yeah.
And they disappeared. And I've asked every time someone has come from Old Canada Road about replacing those, and they just don't ever happen.
Either, right, that, I think was Brookfield. It's my understanding that was Brookfield's
Well,
parking lot,
The
and they were
last time
responsible for that.
Bill Haynes
Oh, Bob
came,
Haynes.
yeah, whatever, he was going to look into that, but he never got back to me about
Okay.
it. But that's really necessary.
Right.
So,
Those, I mean, if you're using that trail, it's the only place that you would go to the bathroom.
Right.
I can put you in contact with David Heinrich from Brookfield, and he.
They took them out, and then COVID happened, and I think they just got forgotten.
Which
You know.
parking lot are you referring to? Did Dev River take out, that's
You
right
know
next to
the
Magic?
parking lot, the CMP parking lot in the Dead River, which is
pull
right
it
by
by
Magic
Right by
Falls.
Magic,
Right,
Yeah.
right by their campground.
Yeah.
There were always 2 porta potties there,
okay.
and people use them, I mean, they come off the river there, private boaters do,
Sure.
and park there, and if you were walking the trail, it was a very convenient place to go to the bathroom, if you needed to. You can rest assured, they're still going to the bathroom.
That's where we operate our shuttle from, and so it would be handy, but that is outside of the.
that's not
this-
part of this, right,
yeah.
that's not part of the site, but that does bring up the point that I
You
did
need
mention was
bathrooms
that
anywhere along
the other, in the estimates for these, projects, there are signs, for the trail system. There are, in the Dead River side, we built a small parking area right by the cemetery. And there's a sign there now, but it would be nice to have a map there, some other information that what you'll find down the trail.
I park in that parking lot 5 times a week.
Right, to walk down?
By the cemetery, you're right, but
Right.
again, you know, I know there are a lot of people that use that, but there's no porta potty anywhere. And
I'm also
I live
passionate
there,
about
so.
the facilities there, since I walk my dog there, and
I know.
end up trying to rescue your dog away from some nasty things.
Well, and
so
what, I want to don't pick up after them
we're
dogs.
definitely working on that.
What we wanna do here, Sharon, is have, porta potties available in 2 different spots.
Mhm.
And you can see there's a drawing here that shows a building that's 3-sided, that the
Mhm.
porta potties slide
That's nice.
into to
That's
just kind of
nice.
make them look a little
Right,
better, and
And then we put the map on the side,
that's nice.
and you guys would be responsible.
So
for
there'd be
porta
some,
potties.
those at, I would call it the lower end of the trail, with the helipad, and then the next would be up at the ball field. Or there are some at the ball.
There's
field.
some at the ball field, so that's something,
They'll put some,
yeah.
Well-
yeah.
2 of them here too.
Yep.
Like out near the takeout,
Oh,
Where
so
that
there'd be
roof is.
4 there?
well, I don't know if there'd be 4 porta potties, but we're thinking of
2
putting
locations.
porta potties in
In 2
2
locations.
locations.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
wow.
Well,
And it's
that
all
would be
conceptual
really
at
nice,
this
where
point.
people are gonna go to the bathroom, somewhere.
That is not part of this project, but if the improvements come and, like, ideally, you have more people coming, then you would go and say, okay, reminds me of Smalls Falls, like, we put 2 privies at that spot, because we knew the use of that area. So once you know the use, you could always add a second one.
So we're not,
Or a third
they're
one.
not gonna be there with all of this spending, there aren't gonna be any porta potties.
No, that is not,
I don't
that's a
understand.
maintenance kind of feature, right? We're not gonna build a bathroom, but,
How
that
can
you
it be
pay,
maintenance when there isn't one to begin
you
with?
have to pay every month to have the porta potties,
Right.
pumped out and stuff like that, so that's just not part of, this is, capital improvements.
But just
So-
to be clear, the old Canada Road is planning on facilitating that kind of maintenance work, so that we would build the structure, just to be clear,
Yeah.
what we're talking about tonight is a federal highway grant
Right,
that encompasses improvements to these 2 locations,
right,
which would leverage opportunity to improve the trails between the 2 locations. And the old Canada Road is stepping in to say, we're gonna facilitate and maintain these locations, which would include having the porta potties in the porta potty structure and
Okay.
servicing them.
What is
But
the
it's not gonna
advantage?
be, it can't be included in the federal highway grant that they're gonna buy the porta potties and maintain them in perpetuity.
okay,
But the structure that will house them and the plan to have them and
Okay.
be maintained will be.
okay.
And everybody, I can speak for everybody that we all wanna make sure that there's places to go to the bathroom, because a lot of us walk dogs around there and.
It's just necessary, well,
Yeah.
people walk around there.
Yeah, thanks, Justin, right, that's the,
I just wanna make sure
I'll
that,
focus on this end, but that's the second end, Old Canada Road as a byway group and entity.
Well, that's good, because, I mean, all this is wonderful, but if we can't maintain what we currently have, I don't know how we can be excited about going forward, you know? we have lots of repair that needs to be done to that trail along the Dead River.
That's right.
Lots of, I mean, that's really washed out to the point, it's hard to walk on it. I can walk on it, but, you know, it was so beautiful before, but, so again, it's just not being maintained. No one's cutting the weeds that are growing all along the side, which are soon gonna be bushes, and there's some potholes that need, you know.
Yes, and I can tell you, Sharon, that one of the things that Old Canada Road currently is doing, we're setting up some committees to address different issues
Good.
along the whole byway.
Good.
Maintenance is one of them,
Okay,
and trail maintenance.
yeah,
Isn't that the name of one of our committees?
Trails and stewardship.
Trails and stewardship.
yeah, good,
And so,
good,
those kinds of issues are things that
that's good.
we want to address.
Well, that's good,
Yes.
and
But
what you've
that's
done
aside-
is wonderful,
Right,
you
but
know.
that's aside from this
Right.
grant.
Well, I just
that-
bring it up
yes.
because it doesn't do us any good to continue to build these beautiful things if down the road no one's gonna take care of anything that
Well, that is our goal.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but the other part, right, no, of course, that's a number one question, right? So the Old County Road is prepared to do that, right?
That's great.
Because the towns can't do it,
No,
right? Maine DOT is not gonna do it, this is not, we're developing facilities for the
Right.
towns.
that's wonderful.
The,
So where would the funding come for the maintenance part of it? Is that
Is,
something?
is that what Matt's going to address?
Yeah.
there is no funding, no, there's no funding, there's no maintenance funding here. The maintenance funding now that you guys have
Oh,
is
I'm sorry. I
Maine
didn't
DOT,
understand.
right, Old Canada Road, we have a contract with, not Matt, not me, planning, project development, you have it with maintenance and operations with the department. So in the region, does a contract with Old Canada Road to maintain all the facilities up and down the road. So that funding, that doesn't cover the trails. It covers some of Robbins Hill, but not all of it. It's really for the bathroom facilities.
Is that what does the rest area?
Yes,
Yes.
and so they have income, that generates income for the group, and then and plus they're ambassadors, and, it's like you're looking at your own bathroom kind of thing versus
Yeah.
us doing it. So it's really a good situation
So
and generates
DOT
some money.
doesn't do that anymore. Didn't they used to maintain the rest
Yeah,
areas?
we did, yeah, but,
Old
I helped
Canada
convince
Road.
them that we should have Old Canada Road do it, so it's much better. You guys are better off than a lot of other places.
What is
But
the-
we're the,
What is the advantage of having porta potties as opposed to like Robbins Hill and, the picnic area that have outhouses? I mean, what is the?
Maintenance, they can be pulled out and cleaned, they
Yeah.
take
So,
care of.
Yeah, you have
when
to-
you have a permanent facility there. That's
yeah, you have,
a lot.
that building needs to be looked after way more than a porta potty, cause that's
Okay.
just, they come
So
and they
that's-
take care of it. Yeah, it's a monthly maintenance fee.
Yeah.
It turns out that's a pretty good way to
It's pretty
deal with
reasonable
it.
for,
a porta
And the trick that I learned is if you go to Lincolnville, because they have the best one, it's a really good looking structure. You wouldn't know it holds 2 porta potties until you go to open the door.
right.
Yeah, so
And as
that's
long
the
as they're
idea.
clean, they're perfectly fine. you
Right,
know.
so that's the
I'd
idea
rather
here,
go
too.
in a clean porta potty than a dirty bathroom,
Yeah.
you know?
Do you mind if I cut in real quick, just
Of
because
course.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think I have the basic model of Zoom that's gonna cut out in 30 or 45 minutes.
Okay, yeah, so let's get.
So if we can get Matt, if we can come back to the concept and the
And
plans
details, yeah,
and
yeah.
maintenance, but if Matt could, I think, the express reason for this meeting is to determine if the town will provide a letter of support and even potentially provide a letter of commitment that we would pursue to help support this financially down the road, because of this grant. I'll let Matt talk about that.
Thank you.
We got right into the bathroom, sorry.
It's always the first, it's an important one.
No, I know.
So we'll have to be quiet while Matt talks, it's just my computer here. Go ahead, Matt.
Sure, I'll do my best. Yeah, I'll do my best here. Apologize if there's any background noise at home, obviously. Here, obviously, I'm at home. Thank you guys for the flexibility. So I just wanted to say that basically, a project like this, we're seeking federal grant funds. Maine DOT would be the applicant. We're the only legal applicant, other than tribes, to apply for the federal byways fund. And our basic model is 80% federal funding, 10% state funding, and 10% local funding. And typically what local means is truly the community or the town, the plantation where the project occurs. That community would provide 10% of the funding. Maine DOT's cost sharing policy allows for half of that local share to come from a nonprofit or other type of entity. In this case, the Old Canada Road would be willing to put up some portion of that money. So presumably, you could assume it was 5% and 5%. So I wanna be clear here, I'm not making an ask of providing Maine DOT's funding, policy, explanation. I can try and answer any questions, but essentially, I think what the Old Canada Road, National Scenic Byway folks are asking is, in conjunction with the town, is to find out what cost share the town, the plantation, would fund. Based on our internal estimates of these project costs, working with Larry and his team of project development, the south, spot here in the Forks would be right around $550,000 all in for the materials and the things that you would take to, and the removing of earth that you see in Larry's, image there to the right, as well as the construction engineering, pre-engineering, any right-of-way process that's needed, as well as the getting a construction company to come do this work, costs right around $550,000. The total local share therefore would be around $55,000, and it's up to the town essentially, it's up to the plantation right now to decide how and if to fund what portion of that 10% you're able to do. So I'll leave it there. I'll let Justin add anything to that based on our previous conversations, but then answer any questions I can about how to get to a number of commitment from the plantation to support the project, if any.
That's up to the town people to decide.
Right, so effectively, so one of the pinches on this application, and it's kind of it's a unique opportunity in that the DOT picks up the bulk of the work. I mean, they apply for the grant, they do the planning, they carry a lot of the water on this. But the pinch here is that the application is due December 16th. So the West Forks just had the same presentation and I think agreed to provide a letter of support. Is that what I heard? A letter of support.
Yeah, but no financial commitment yet.
Right, so of course, for a financial commitment, it has to go before the townspeople. It seems unreasonable to call a special town meeting and get enough people in here to vote to say, so these numbers are $550,000, so 10% is $55,000. If we were to split that with the Old Canada Road, you're looking, what is it, $27,500 would come from Old Canada Road, and $27,500 could potentially come from us, if it was a 50-50 split. Matt, can you confirm if I'm right that the project can move forward with a letter of unwavering support from the town without a financial commitment now, and then this is something we could bring before the people of the town at our next town meeting in June? And can you explain how that would work if we do decide to fund it? It wouldn't be to DOT, it would be to OCR.
Yeah, I can speak to that, thanks. So, like I said, I left it kind of where I did, half answered, because the Maine DOT policy is that half of the local share would have to come from the community and half could come from other sources. Essentially, you could move forward with a letter of support for the project, and no financial commitment at this time. You would also have to essentially ask or petition, Justin, you can email me tomorrow with this request, to waive Maine DOT's policy and to allow Old Canada Road to cover the full 10% share for the for the Forks portion of the project. That's a two-part thing. You'd have to make sure that Old Canada Road had those funds and was willing to do that. And you'd have to ask Maine DOT to waive our cost share policy to allow that to occur. If you can get yeses on those two things, and I think there's a sense you could, then you could provide a letter of support and you could seek funding at your June town meeting to share the cost of the project. Essentially, that money would end up going to Maine DOT, it would be raised and appropriated by you and reimburse Maine DOT for the local share of the project. At the time we request that local share be made, the payment be made. And essentially, that just means that Old Canada Road would have to provide less of the cash from their commitment because you provided some of the cash as part of the local commitment.
As far as a timeline, Matt, do you know when those checks would be due? We've talked, at the Old Canada Road meetings that you've been present at, these are projects that take 3 to 5 years. So in that timeline, when would the monies be collected?
Sure. So, and I don't have a ton of experience with this, we did receive one grant from the federal government 2 years ago for a project in Rangeley, so I've got a rough idea. After application is due, let's say, this December, or even, let's use this December, within a year, we would have our agreement, and within another year, we would have a plan designed and sent out for some sort of construction bid. Might take another year to design it, so we're probably 3+ years away from Maine DOT having a final price for the project and then collecting the local shares of 10%. So FY 26, 27, 28 is my best guess, but it's not in the next 12 months, no. And that's also an if, right? I mean, obviously we're applying for federal funds. The federal government has 2 rounds of funding put into this one NOFO, Notice of Opportunity, Notice of Funding Opportunity. It's about $27 million nationwide. So I'm hopeful that Maine DOT and the state get one of these grants, but they're highly competitive funds. So there's also a chance we don't get the grant at all. So that's part of this as well.
If the town of the West Forks and the Forks don't provide letters of commitment for funds, does that decrease our attractiveness in that competition?
I'll honestly say no, that it does not. The West Forks and the Forks not providing letters of commitment and cash to the project at this time, with the potential to raise it in the next 6 or 7 months and defer some of the costs from Old Canada Road, is helpful, but it's really on a state level. This is really our cost share policy. There are states that don't provide the 10% cost share like Maine DOT does. There are community, states that don't allow anything but the local municipality or Old Canada or the byway to cost share these projects. So this is a very unique thing. It's a Maine thing that we split it 80-10-10 and ask 10% local share, and it's our policy that half of that come from the municipality. In this case, they would not. Like I said, you're asking us for a waiver to waive that cost share policy to have the local nonprofit provided instead. So it's just a state thing.
That's all the questions I have. Does anybody else have any questions?
Nope.
Okay. And just for the scope of the project, because it involves both municipalities, just to use easy numbers, it's roughly $1 million project between the 2 locations. So if we use that round number, it's basically, this could be $900,000 of federal funding coming our way without having to even be the ones writing the grant. These folks being the ones writing the grant. And 100,000 coming from Old Canada Road and 100,000 coming from,
That's it.
sorry, 50,000 coming from Old Canada Road, 50,000 coming from the 2 municipalities.
Yeah, that's right. I'll say if we're using $1 million as our total project cost, which I think is fair, it's 800,000 of federal money, 100,000 of state money, so that we're chipping in 10% as well. That could, it has some discretion for us. And then you're right, 50,000 from Old Canada Road and 50,000 from the 2 plantations.
Okay. All right. Now that we've got that through, and in case this kicks you off, you're welcome to stay on until it does, but now we can go back to, design and stuff. There's more from the Old Canada Road folks that.
I think his point that, federal highway makes a decision, you just have to have you have to have the 20%.
Yep.
And, I think in my mind, if I'm reviewing a grant and I see that there are other stakeholders in it providing money, to me, it seems like, oh yeah, there's more, but I think a commitment letter is just as strong, that says, you're gonna work with DOT to implement the project, and we support the whole project. So that's essential.
Commitment letter or a letter of intent?
Commitment letter to support the project.
As far as I've learned from Matt, there's two key phrases here: letter of support and letter of commitment. The commitment is the financial side. The letter of support, it would just be us saying we support the project. We'll assist how we need to as a municipality, but it doesn't commit us to any funds.
I have some sample letters that Larry provided that, I can send you a sample letter.
Okay.
For the letter of support, so that it can be on, the Forks letterhead, and you can get a letter of support to Matt.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you
Increase
have
the
this.
skates a little bit. I have an important question. So, in the West Forks, they're a landowner. They need to, I asked them to say, we commit to working with Maine DOT to do this project on our land. That's a commitment versus, oh, we support it. You guys are a little different because it's a CMP land, but I do think to improve this road, you have rights. Where there's some right on this road, right, on Cemetery
Yeah.
Road?
This came up at a meeting a few months ago when this project was just getting started. I brought it before the board to
Right.
confirm. And I believe it's just to the access to the cemetery. There's a
Right
town
here,
sign, Cemetery Road on 201. And I haven't been able to find any evidence, I don't know if you guys would know where to look, if our road, if the town road extends down to that takeout or not, or if it's just to access the town cemetery.
We looked at that.
Okay, and it's just to the,
To the cemetery.
basically
We
to the
have a
cemetery.
So
regular-
I think it's important to note that the commitment is supporting the project, but commitment to working with DOT to allow, improvements on this,
What is a town road?
what is your town road, yeah.
Okay,
So if someone asks the question like, oh yeah, it's in the letter, that's what I would somehow tuck it in the letter, you could be worded differently, but it's in there.
okay.
Because that's the bottom line when for developing a project is we have to know the ownership and what the rights would be.
Susan, you had a question?
Well, I just was wondering, if it would be appropriate to ask other neighboring towns that may utilize these to also pitch in.
You can certainly raise money.
Right.
You know, that's the idea, is from that point of view.
And you got three, 4 years to do it, so a
And-
lot can happen in that.
Well, I'll be honest, and Frank, we're in a financial hurt locker. We've inherited some, not a very good checkbook, so to ask the people to come up with money today is very difficult when we're just trying to pay our bills.
Right.
So, the letter of support, I think we could probably come up with and be in agreement that, this is a good idea. Commitment at the moment, we gotta get our head above water before we can start spending more than we have.
There was-
Let's balance that checkbook, not
Yeah.
with fantasy money, but with money we actually have in our account.
Yeah.
We totally understand that, and, we also, have been talking about the fact that some of this money does not have to appear until 2028. So we have some time to do some
I understand
fundraising
that,
up and down the byway, not just here.
okay, I see that.
Yes.
There was a reason that Matt was prepared with language around the waiver of that policy, because I warned him of that. and-
Okay,
Right.
And he, regardless of our position, it's two small towns, and,
Yeah.
for some municipalities, 25 grand might be a drop in the bucket, but for this one, it's not, and,
Not right now.
yeah, not
There
right
was a
now, so
time,
it's,
there was a
Right.
time,
Right.
when it would have been a drop in
There was a
the
time.
bucket.
The other thing too is that any of these kinds of funding opportunities in the past, Old Canada Road has never really been able to apply because we had no money for any leverage, and most anything required a 20% share, and we had nothing.
I think
So we
I-
couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But now, we do have some money that will help us leverage this, and the money that we do have right now is sitting in money market account and a CD and collecting some pretty good interest. And we intend to leave that, doing that, until, if we get this grant, till we need some of that money.
I think we're clear enough about what you guys are asking, and
Yeah.
that we can make a motion to, agree to a letter of support at this time.
How many other, byways are applying for this grant?
Oh, that's a
What is
great-
the competition?
I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's only one other in the state that's applying.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
it's quite a unique opportunity here.
Wow.
Right, and I know last year, weren't there four or five last year?
Yeah, there were 4 that applied, only 1 received it. Last year, I think there was a lot of complaints. Last year, there's not a big pot of money. but last year, it was only like, not every state that had byways got money, a lot of states did not. Some got two, a few got two, but it was really, Maine only got one, and we usually got more in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna repeat that last year, because I know from the byway world that people were pissed off that, but the money only goes so far, so the chances of, Matt and I are kinda different, and I'm a hopeful person, so I think Maine, we have a great track record. They know that we can produce on byway funding, so hopefully we would get both.
Okay,
But it's total speculation, sorry.
I think I think we recognize the opportunity that you guys are looking at, and I think we're in support of that. So,
And I don't see any reason why, come town meeting next year in June, why we wouldn't put forth an article,
I was just gonna.
for funding, but it's something that the people have.
And you know, it don't have to be that
You know,
amount
we-
either. If you put in just a little bit, that shows support for what, what the project is.
Right.
I mean, we don't know how the vote's gonna go, voting, you never know, but we could put it in there, and then it's,
To appropriate for over a couple of years,
Yeah.
and then we just have to leave it to townsfolk, it would have my support, but I'm just one vote, so.
And I'll reiterate from this table, the same way we talked about at last night's OCR meeting, that the better that Old Canada Road does to raise awareness and support of this from the folks that live here, the townspeople that are gonna be voting on that, the more likely it is they're gonna raise their hand to vote for.
That's right,
So
yes.
it's,
Absolutely.
between now and our next town meeting, if there's an excitement about this, and folks come in, they see the warrant on there, there's a lot better chance that they're gonna say yes to put in some funds. into
Just get
this.
some buzz around it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's exciting.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we,
For coming.
Thank you.
send a letter of support.
Who do we
I
send it
second.
to?
All in
Matt
favor?
Ross.
I'm in favor.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Are you gonna send it, are you gonna send it to Matt?
He's gonna,
Matt Ross.
yeah, I'll make sure that he gets it, I'll make
I'll
sure.
send you the template.
Yeah, and I think Matt is too, so we'll have plenty of things to put something together, and I'll make sure that Matt gets it before the deadline.
There's, the town of Sorrento, from the other byway, did a letter just like this case. They had no.
Sorrento?
Sorrento, yeah, so it's, I
I'll
asked
check
her
the
to send
letter.
out to.
Okay,
Yeah, so when you go, there's a bunch of letters I sent, but if you look at that one specifically, that'll give you the guidance you need.
okay.
Okay, so was it Dave who made the motion, Justin seconded?
Actually,
second.
Charlie seconded, and we were all in favor.
I should tell you too, that one of the things that we feel is important down the road, is to involve people in the community in having a say about some of the ideas that we have here. Because some of the other ideas has to do with a little picnic area, a place for families, kids to play. I've visited places like the Booth Bay Region Land Trust, and they have what's called a nature playground, and it's like different sized logs to climb on, and just little interesting things that are just nature things that would attract kids playing.
Yeah, fingers crossed, we'll be back in this room, starting to design.
So
Yeah.
that's
Consultants
part,
will be
yeah.
back here saying, all right, let's start designing and get our bid package together, yeah.
Are you, if I get them back to you, are you able to leave these here temporarily, or do you need to take those with you?
I don't like leaving them because they're not finished products, but you can have them, I don't care.
Well, I'll make sure they get back to you.
I
Just
don't
so
need
we
them,
can
I
look
don't,
up.
I don't need them,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you can. if
We'll
you
make
look-
sure,
I
we'll
think
make sure they
that's
don't get
wonderful.
distributed widely then, we'll stay within this group.
Yeah, the idea is like, look it over, and then, of course, reach out to me if you see anything that's like, oh, I don't get this right. Yeah,
Sure.
I'm wide open to all that feedback and input.
Just like a draft on the top of them.
Yeah, yeah.
That's nice.
That's okay, yeah.
And
I
if
have
you
a
need the
question.
boards, you can just leave the paper, that's fine.
We are tweaking, I mean, it's basically what you're looking at, but there's still tweaking going
course.
on to hone in on the right number, yeah.
Where is Sorrento?
Sorrento's, on the coast, right next to Sullivan, Maine. So if you go past Ellsworth, shoot through Ellsworth, forget all that commercial stuff, and then go, and then,
Okay, I appreciate it.
okay, you gotta
We
move
spent an
on.
hour on this.
Well,
Thank you,
very
folks.
much.
Thank you for coming.
No problem, we're
Appreciate
right
it.
here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you weren't.
Watch out.
You said you want to, unless you need the boards
Oh,
and the
good.
papers. There's some papers on too.
I'll leave them like this, wait, leave that up.
I've been
I'll leave it, I'll come get them again.
No, take the stands and everything, it's
Okay.
okay, yeah.
We're fine, we're fine.
Let's put it
I
back.
have a feeling you end up using
I'm
the
the
stuff
sand
quite
side,
often.
that was my job, right?
We have like 16 here.
Where'd the map go?
I'll send you that.
Yeah.
Where'd the?
Check the mail.
You too.
Hey, board member.
Guys,
It's
that's
in its
awesome.
place.
The map.
Exciting.
Hey, the map up
Thank you,
there.
Moxie Lake.
Moxie Lake.
See you guys later.
Thank you,
Bye.
Good to see you.
No idea. She might have, she might know.
Susan, where's this map of Moxie Lake go that was on the wall? You know?
We took it down, this, the one that was the long one right
Yeah.
there.
Why? Just curious.
Was she cleaning the walls?
Yeah, it just, I guess that it was,
What was it up there?
an election and it was just a old map and
Where is it?
I think we folded it up and, or rolled it up and put it upstairs.
All right, moving on. We're on number 4, the Monmouth Cemetery plot sales. Okay.
I've had a few people that have asked about purchasing plots up at the mountain cemetery.
Yeah.
I've done some looking for, records and anything I can find about it in here, and I haven't been able to find anything other than blank forms where you can, for people, you know, verify that they purchased a plot. Can't find the map, I can't seem to find any, you know, anything, but there are still places to look, but, you know, the bottom line is, we have had some interest in folks wanting to purchase plots, in the past. I think the citizens have been told that it was for Forks residents only. I don't really know if that's a legal stipulation, if that's written down, I don't know, you know, about that, but I just wanted to let folks know I'm looking into it. And I may have to talk with Sandy to see if she can't point me in the direction, cause I know when we had an assessors meeting and it had to do with Barbara's plot and June was here, we had the map out, we had all this stuff, I can't find it. Not
Yeah,
saying it's not here, but I can't find it.
I agree, yeah, I agree that we need to find that, and, yeah.
Did you look in the safe?
I did,
You did.
I did.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, that's all I have to say about it.
Well, it sounds like you're trying to have a personal rapport with her, maybe you can have a conversation, you can ask her.
We probably shouldn't put Dave in charge of that, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
If,
I'm happy to do that. I mean,
Justin, yeah, I think we should, that's a very important topic, and we need to find out why, and if it's really, was it voted on, whether it's Forks residents, we need to find out some information,
Yeah,
whether.
what the legal,
Right.
you know, status
And I
of
know where
that.
you're going with this, because I know some of the people that are required to be buried up there, and I think if you're in the community, I mean, not somebody from California, but, you know, yes, let's pursue this.
Okay, that's all I have to say.
Okay.
I'm looking to do it. That's
Yeah,
it.
no, that's perfect.
So who's pursuing it, or,
Me,
I
okay,
can help you out if you got,
okay.
just get in touch with.
Well, if you're in here pawing around and you
Yeah.
see anything that
Mhm.
says anything to do with the cemetery, pull it.
Understood, yeah, that's, I understood, hey, I'm looking for this, oh, yeah, Charlie's looking for that.
That's part of the whole thing. It's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
You see
Brought it to
anything,
the
let me
table.
know.
All right, so we'll move on to number 5, permission for the Winslow Food Cupboard to use, the heated garage or the town office building for winter months. I think the heated garage would work because they can pull the trailer right in, don't you?
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I was-
Is it heated right now?
That's the problem, the heaters are in disrepair.
Oh, they are? What
Yes.
kind of heaters are they? Propane?
Yeah, they're up high,
Yeah,
there's been critters in there, they've been in them. Did talk with Sandy a little bit about that, she told me the last time that they had been used was when she drove Boston 2019.
okay.
So, they would need to have been
Is it a
serviced.
Hall and Smith service, or?
Either that
Well,
or
I think we
Bob's.
use Bob's,
Okay.
so it would be a Bob thing.
Yeah, so what do we have for funding in our, account for like that type of service?
I think it's just in the general,
The general
like,
fund?
what do we call them, town hall
Town hall,
charges?
yeah.
Plantation
Plantation
charges.
Plantation
charges.
charges, that
Yeah.
big catch-all.
Yeah.
Well, this is a public service for the community, and it seems like it's a pretty good hit, right? People are coming?
Oh, last time it was quite busy.
Okay,
It was
so
really,
Plus, I think we should get those repaired anyway.
I think so too, and
You
that's
know,
where I'm
it's
going with
not-
this. I think 100%.
I think so too, because, I mean, in an emergency, if you had to
100%.
put people in there to be
As a
warm, you
shelter,
could, you
heating
know.
shelter or something.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's no
It's an
reason to have
asset
that
that
building there with
we're not
a heating system that
Utilize,
is
it's
in
an asset
disrepair.
that we own that we're not utilizing, I guess we own the heaters, right,
Right.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So regardless of if we fix the heaters or not, do we wanna just say yes to the garage, or do we wanna let them tell us which one is better? The garage or in here?
They
I-
were open to either one, I was the one who asked them
Okay.
if it was something that they'd be
Cause
interested in.
even if it's not heat, it's warmer
Well,
than
that's
being
right.
outside in the wind.
Yeah.
and
Right,
stuff,
well, that's a
but
good
heat
point,
would be
Denise,
nice.
I mean, even if it
But
isn't,
in
Yeah.
here, they're gonna have to lug everything.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
From
easier.
the car,
Yeah.
through the door, in here,
Yeah.
I think it'd be
or,
much better,
yeah.
I think so.
venue, so to speak.
I'll make a motion that we allow them to use the garage as heat, and then I'll take care of calling Bob's Gas Fuel and get them to come up here and check those heaters out. So I'll
I'll
make a
second that.
motion, okay, yep, all in favor? You got that, Susan?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll take care of getting hold of Bob's and we'll get that set up to have them look at that.
So I just have a question, when he's here, is it just, I mean, can't people from West Forks come over too?
Yes.
Yes,
So maybe if we had to heat the garage, maybe they would help us with that, or if there's a big,
I don't
cost
think
or
it's,
something.
the amount of money it's gonna
I
cost
wouldn't think
to
so.
heat it, I think is gonna be minimal, it's just that
Right.
initial service call is what's gonna
Right.
cost, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's nice,
Yeah.
that.
I know we use it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
Good,
a whole box of chicken in the freezer.
I'm
Alright.
still eating that sorbet, the peach one, that was like pretty good.
So Dave, you said
Oh, yeah,
you're
so good.
gonna,
You see the
you made a
thing?
motion
Yeah.
to use the garage and to
I like
call
the little
Bob's,
car.
I made the motion for them to allow to use it, yes. And
okay,
it just as a maintenance thing, I'm gonna take the responsibility to call Bob's and get that garage taken care of.
what day do they come?
It's one Wednesday a month. There's usually a calendar up there on the bulletin.
Oh, okay,
But if you go to their website, they're all over, they're in Jackman twice a month.
Right, I
They're-
know they
yeah,
are.
they're-
You could follow them around and get
It's amazing, they
Food
made
all
good
week.
stuff.
and there are people who
every
do
week,
that.
yeah.
You see
Yeah.
that, yeah.
that's nice.
All right, so number 7, Missy Harris plumbing permit approval.
Okay, so she yesterday, wrote me an email and said that she's got she lives on, I think it's 754 Troutdale Road, and she is replacing a holding tank. And so Ben Toll is involved and he's the contractor. Brian Turner is a plumbing inspector. Brian Turner, I spoke to him tonight. First of all, she sent me just photos of the permit, and I tried to print them out for you guys, but it wasn't working out, so I called, she said Ben had them, I talked to Ben, he sent me photos too. Again, I tried to put them on a piece of paper so that you guys, I could pass them around and show them to you, but, then finally Ben sent me PDFs here tonight, so I do have them. But in the meantime, I had spoken to, Brian Turner, and he says that you guys need to, before he can approve a holding tank, that the board has to sign approval.
That needs to be engineered.
It is engineered,
It
so I have the plans
Okay,
here.
so, okay,
I used to be a plumbing inspector,
okay.
and so the thing is that it's been a long time, so
Sure.
I don't know. I did go on to the subsurface wastewater disposal rules, and I printed out the code that I think is pointing to the fact that you guys need to, that it's above the LPI's, ability to approve this holding tank. They just wanna make sure that we don't have an ordinance against holding tanks. My understanding is that this also needs to be recorded with the Registry of Deeds.
Yeah.
But Brian didn't seem familiar with that part of the code, so,
That's-
and she doesn't have in this, she has her HHE 200, which is the design. And then she has this,
Who did the design?
I can
Irene
print
Knapp.
that real quick if it's helpful. I can go in and print it so we can look at it.
That's fine, yeah.
No, it's right here. I'll
The
pass
one
it.
that Ben sent?
This is
I
the
don't
one
care
that Ben
about-
sent.
Okay, all right.
seeing it. My only concern is to make sure that we're not gonna be held liable from work. Because Brian's supposed to take care of that, and they're supposed to go through all those permits when they're done. We send them along to work, and as long as they're engineered by a certified engineer that does that type of stuff, then we shouldn't have a problem, because that's their license. So, as far as I'm concerned at this point, as long as it's engineered, and we got Brian Turner as the plumbing inspector involved, I don't have a problem signing it.
And just to be,
This is supposed to have first of all, Brian is supposed to have this signed, at least according to what this code says, before you guys sign it. This is the pumping, agreement that's not even filled out, so Melissa Herrick, who's the landowner, she doesn't even have, as far as, this is blank, she doesn't have a contract with somebody who's pumping this yet.
Yeah.
So, I may be
I think
speaking
that's
out
a
of turn, but
requirement.
I think this is
That's a new
way too.
requirement? Yeah, okay.
I think that is with that guy, it was something,
Vaughn Smith?
yeah, I've heard something before where they needed to have a contract
Okay,
in order to assure that it's gonna be pumped,
okay, yeah.
so.
Well, that makes sense, yeah.
It does, especially on the lake.
And they're
That makes
supposed to record this, at least from my memory, they have to record it with the registry of deed to prevent, them selling it and not telling somebody that they have a
Agreed, yeah.
holding tank that needs to be pumped on a regular basis, but Brian didn't seem familiar with that part of the code.
That's good.
In any event, in my opinion, this is incomplete. If she doesn't have an agreement
Okay.
with anybody, so I'm gonna pass it around and you guys can do.
we'll just have to let them know that you gotta get more information settled and then we can sign it.
Okay,
Yeah, we gotta have a pumping agreement,
so,
Brian has to sign it sounds like, before we do. And then just for clarification, according to my conversation with Ben, he's just digging the hole.
Right,
He's not setting anything, he's just digging
so
the hole.
you spoke to
He,
Ben about this?
when he was having a hard time getting her documents that would
Oh, I see.
work, he tried sending them to me and said, can you see if this is working for you?
Okay,
And then I just quickly said, what do you need me to do with it if it does work?
Yeah.
And then he said that he had settled it up with you, he got a copy that worked. And then he just gave me a quick summary, he's like, I'm just digging the hole, I'm just forwarding this on, to help out the landowner, because it needs to be done. So,
so who's been in touch with,
you probably had more conversation with Ben than I have.
the Harriet girl?
Oh, I haven't.
she emailed me first, that's how I got involved, and it was just
Okay.
yesterday. So,
Okay.
I emailed her back and I said, can you send me more than JPEGs? Cause I tried to blow them up, as soon as you blow them up and put them on a piece of
Mhm.
paper, one, it's all gray, and,
Yeah.
you couldn't read them, I couldn't even tell what page
Yeah,
was
that's the way to
which.
send an official
Do
document,
you-
I don't know why you do that.
Because you've been a plumbing inspector, would you mind reaching back out to her and informing her that to complete that?
I think Brian is.
Brian.
I'd like to call Brian again tomorrow or at some point and just go over this with him because
Okay,
in my opinion, that, pumping agreement is one of the very first steps. When I was an LPI.
Yep.
That had to be done and it had to be, recorded with the Somerset County Registry of Deeds before I could sign it.
okay,
And so again, when I talked to him tonight, he doesn't know that is a thing, and I did find it, I read it to him in the subsurface,
Yeah.
disposal rules, so.
all right, so, okay,
But, I'm not an assessor, and I don't know.
No problem.
I don't
I can,
know if I'm out of line trying to talk about this, because I'm
No,
not
no.
an LPI anymore.
we're talking about it, we're not out, I don't know.
Okay.
They can authorize you.
Well, there's a problems with the application as far as I'm concerned too, because it says that has city, town, or plantation, says Caratunk, then it says Dale Trout Road.
Yeah, it's all over the
754.
place, if we
Yeah.
talk.
That's not where it is, I mean, it needs to be accurate, it needs to be the Forks Plantation, and it's 54 Troutdale Road, not Dale Trout Road, two
Right.
words.
And
Just saying
that's,
it's-
so that's the thing with Kareen Knapp is the, site evaluator that's what the designer is called,
Mhm.
and then,
Or she did it
but
online.
I think that, no, Brian Turner said that he's dealt with her, you know, over the years, and that she's basically his neighbor, but he doesn't want to contact her directly because it's not his position. He contacted
I
the
got you.
woman in Florida. So the owner is in Florida.
Yeah.
And I think that she's under the gun, is that true? Is,
I don't know.
it seems like
It
Ben.
sounds like they have to
wants
get
to
it
do
done
it.
because of,
Frozen-
Ben said
Frozen
something about,
ground or something, and the tank is being delivered, and
Right.
blah, it's just like,
Yeah, well,
what
Poor
Brian,
planning.
well, what Brian Turner said is poor planning and preparation does not
Constitute an
create
emergency.
my emergency or something on
Yeah.
that.
Good for him.
no, it's true. So, okay,
So, now that's all I know about it.
thank you very much for that.
So what's the next step here and who's going to,
The next step, I would say, is somebody's gonna reach back out to Turner, the engineer,
okay,
and have him redo the application.
I can do that.
But I think Susan wanted to talk to Turner prior to that, correct?
This is what I think. I think that we should ask the property owner to, she's the one who's responsible for this.
Yeah.
She's the one who needs to contact the designer, the site evaluator, and have.
and she's the one that needs
That's a
to
She's
great
chase
point.
down the
Yeah.
pumping
She's
agreement.
the one that, it's not us that should be
No, that's not up to
jumping
us.
through.
It's up to us to do the good point, thank you, yeah.
Yeah, so just to
Wait,
make
what-
sure I understand, I'm gonna make sure she's got the address right on here, she's probably just gonna have to redo this whole application. And it needs to have the pumping agreement, complete and, Brian Turner's signature before we sign it.
Yes.
So that is what's
Gotta be-
highlighted on the very front, the very first page. I think that, you know, when I was in LPI, I was in a town, I was doing it for Madison, and so there was no, I was able to sign the thing. I didn't have to have a select board to do it. But it looks like, anyway, I printed right there where I think that, where Brian is asking for us to, or for you guys to sign it. I think that that's what he's pointing to in the code.
Yeah, no, it's gotta go to the deeds, registry of deeds too, prior to,
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for on here.
okay.
I
I'll
didn't print that part,
I'll
but,
I'll connect with you after offline,
Okay.
make sure I have all the data, information.
And you'll
before I-
take care of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna call the owner
Yep.
and I
and
have
explain
her
this, but I wanna make sure I've got
email address.
everything that I can
Okay.
tell her.
Perfect.
Okay.
So is that do we need to do a motion or no?
No.
Okay, so,
If we're not approving it, we're kicking it back
okay.
for certain information, and Justin's gonna, and yourself are gonna handle that. All right, number 8, Ben Pohl's request for ATV trail reimbursement.
Okay, so he sent me, with that PDF, he sent me, not only that, so this is the request for, reimbursement for the ATV grant. And then he included 3 invoices that,
Didn't we send that, Evan send that, the last order of business before you left?
this is, I think, another part of it. But then he has, in-town washouts, this is more excavation, 3 invoices for different,
Did we approve those?
don't know, I just got them, like, I was trying to get all this stuff set up.
Are you talking
I
about,
haven't had-
about the work on the Mountain Cemetery Road?
I think one of
Never
those
approved the
is,
invoices.
it
This is
said additional work. Didn't it say additional work on the cemetery road?
So these bills are to the Lake Moxie ATV Club.
They are, it is part of that then?
So I think what these are bills from Maine Trails and Excavation to the ATV Club. And what they do is if you look at this,
I got you now.
Okay, I asked him for an explanation about what those were, and again, we were down to the wire here, getting ready for the meeting.
and my guess is that these are the invoices that support this request for reimbursement. which
Oh, that makes
is,
a whole lot more sense.
which is, has anybody got a calculator?
Let me do it on the phone.
We did get an electronic deposit from the state for $17,001.90 for the ATV.
Okay.
What are those numbers?
Okay, 4,125 plus 2,100 plus 3,450.
9,675?
That's what this is.
Okay,
So this is just supporting documentation for this.
Okay,
okay.
So somebody needs to sign it. I've signed these before for Ben, so you want me to, or?
Sure, I mean, you gotta read.
Yeah, so it needs to be put on a warrant that we're gonna pay him the $17,001.90.
Well, the 9,600 is what he's requesting now, that'll go on the warrant, right now?
Usually they get paid the
They get the
whole,
whole amount.
cause
Oh,
It's just a
he
pass-through.
doesn't have to justify to us how he spends
oh,
his,
So he's doing extra here.
all right, so let's get that on the warrant then, and that'll take care of that.
So whenever we see those funds come in for snowmobile and ATV clubs, it's probably better that we just pass it through as quickly as we can.
yeah,
It doesn't-
cause they,
We don't
like, he's
wanna-
basically, he's saying like, I have $9,000 out there already
Yeah.
of this.
Right, that he spent of
Yes.
that money. That's
Yes.
what
And
this
he's,
is.
and he's saying, hurry up, pay me.
Do we need,
Yes.
do we need another one of
Don't
these?
shut the town down for 3 months.
Do we need another one of these to make up the difference between the 9,600?
I don't think so.
Or can we just send it
We
without any
can
kind
just
of
send him, he
documentation?
doesn't really have to document
Right,
anything.
we're just a
Okay.
pass-through, right?
Yeah, we're just,
The town is a
But
pass-through.
we need some sort of receipt that we passed it through effectively, right?
you're gonna put it on a warrant,
Okay, yeah,
and they're gonna sign it.
okay.
And we already passed some through with, Evan, right?
Yeah.
Like 20-some odd thousand or something?
Yeah, there was another, it was two different
Yeah,
Yeah.
chunks of money.
So when's the next warrant?
well,
Next week?
no.
Well, we
the end
only
of the
do one
month.
a month, but she'd have to do a special one, cause she already did the
Right.
one for tonight.
Right, so I think that what might be good, what might work, and I don't know if that's gonna be the treasurer's report or whatever, but maybe do twice a month instead of once a month, just so that our bills don't crisscross in the mail and, that we aren't waiting a whole 30 days for paying our bills.
I think with Evan here, we more or less were doing it every month because, every 2 weeks. And again, the reason is you end up with these, like we do at the dump, where you paid it and it crisscrosses.
Yeah.
And you end up with, like, then you overpay it, or you underpay it, or you end up with late charges. It seems it's easier just to pay it.
But we do a
pretty much when it's
payroll
due.
every 2 weeks, right? Or every week, or every 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
So why can't,
That,
That would
that's
be-
Susan, yeah, she would be the one.
I'm more than, I'd rather do it,
okay,
take care of.
I make a motion that we do warrants every 2 weeks.
Second?
All in favor?
Okay, is this under treasurer's report, or where am I?
No, we're still talking about the Ben Toll's request, and I just,
Okay,
We could put it under new business.
under new business, sure.
okay,
Okay. So that'll solve that, you'll put that on the warrant for the next time?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, now we'll move on to the tax collector's report.
Okay, so far, since I've been the tax collector, I've made 2 different deposits. One for $19,369.33, one for $27,721.10, for a total of $47,090.43. I did talk to Evan today, and the 2023 tax liens have been recorded. He did send out the 30-day notices and then did the liens for 2023. I did see an envelope that some of them were recorded with the wrong book and page numbers, so I have to investigate that.
that came through
But it
just as
looks
he was
like-
leaving.
It looked like they were recorded though, like they're recorded from the registry of deeds, but it has a sticky note on it, and I don't know who wrote that sticky note.
The one that is, the sticky notes that are on the inside of the envelope?
Yeah.
That was when I opened the envelope, those were stuck there, so whoever
So
sent
the
it put those
person,
on.
okay, so the person from the registry of deeds, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to call there and see what I have to do to fix.
Yeah,
that.
that came through just as Evan was leaving, and it was like
Yeah.
it was something that was clear, it was not, he wasn't gonna handle.
Yeah.
You know, but he also indicated it's probably something that can wait until there's bandwidth to look at it,
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright,
I think.
and then
I'm
I
not-
was just gonna add something in here, but I can put it into new business.
Okay. Is that what you got for the tax collector report?
Yep, that's it.
We all good with that?
Motion to approve the report by,
Motion to accept the tax collector's report.
Second.
All in favor? Treasurer's report.
Who's doing it?
She's done.
okay, so as I emailed you guys to let you know that I paid these bills before the warrant was approved. I apologize, I should know that. I've been sitting at these meetings for how many, a year, and
We all make mistakes,
Anyway.
Susan, it's okay.
so, I was just, I think I was just trying to get through it so much that I, once they were signed and everything, I just put them in the mail. Charlie said, you did what?
You know
Yeah,
what?
Basically, you don't print the checks until after the meeting.
Right, so,
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
right,
Yeah, so
and
you-
so that's the thing that I need Trio to.
Yeah, you just
or
stop at
R.H.R.
that-
Smith, Brenda, to
Yeah.
come here and say this, and
Yeah,
this,
you just
step
stop
by
at the
step.
warrant preview, that's your
Okay.
stopping point.
Okay.
And then everyone here signs it,
Yeah.
and then you can move on to finalizing the warrant, printing the checks, and
Got it.
mailing them out, yeah.
So.
You were just super excited to do the first warrant.
Exactly. But I have not been able to, for some reason, I keep getting a message that says the journal is not ready to post, and then I can't finalize a warrant because the journal's not ready, and so I'm all sixes and nines basically, and I need help. So, Brenda offered to help tomorrow while I'm doing BMV hours. That's again been going back and forth with emails so we were gonna be, she was gonna come on Thursday. That's not gonna happen now because Thursday doesn't look good for her, so, we're looking, Denise and I are looking maybe at Monday, which Brenda threw out there today, so we're just trying to coordinate all of this stuff and Denise, you had said you had an appointment in the morning, but.
Yeah, I can be here, so she can meet with her and go over her
Warrant stuff.
warrant
and-
stuff, and then I can come back and do some payroll stuff, and I have a correction that I have to fix. I entered a tax payment in as cash instead of a check,
Oh,
so I have to fix that.
so anyway.
Nothing major, just that it all balanced, it's just, I couldn't finalize it, cause
I don't know if we should pass this around, it's just a
Yeah.
warrant, a
Yeah.
preview.
they do have to Luke sign that.
Right, but Karen has always said that because it's a preview, it's not official, but that's all I have. I couldn't print a real warrant, so, until I know how to do that.
When the
because I'll-
official warrant comes through, if you just let us know, we can come back through and sign that if it's necessary.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
that would be very,
Do you know how most people don't venture into the unknown because they're afraid of making a mistake?
That's how you learn,
I
because
also
you're never
want to
gonna do
mention-
Let
it
me
again.
introduce you to someone who is not afraid of making mistakes or venturing into the unknown.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I do wanna say that
Still be in the dark ages.
every time Denise and I logged into Trio, we were getting a message that said our, subscription was ending on 11:30.
Well, isn't that because we didn't make a payment?
Yes,
So we have to get
It's
the
been made.
payment.
and so I made the payment, and I got a phone call today to reassure us that, cause I called Trio and said, you know, and so anyway, she said, we got the payment and now you're good until 11/30/2025, so,
Good.
so
Good.
that's a
Yeah.
good thing, because even if we don't like Trio, that's where we are right now.
That's
Hey, we can't, there's no
Yes,
turning
we're
back
not.
now. I mean, we got too
No.
much invested.
We
Let's-
cannot,
Let's
right.
just pray that we all get reelected
Yeah.
to continue
That's
that trio and not have somebody else burn up another $5,000.
That's right, right.
You know, that, if that's gonna happen, then the townspeople should look at it and say, you know what, this is too much.
Right.
You know, let's cross that bridge as it comes.
Yeah.
So, are we good with the, treasurer's report?
I think so, yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we accept it.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Once you enter that, you can go on to your clerk's report.
Did you wanna say anything about payroll?
Nope.
Okay.
Actually, yes, you do.
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. So I have these direct deposit forms for everybody,
Goodness.
and we just wanna pass them
Yeah.
down.
I already did mine.
Oh, you did?
I did it and I
Okay.
put it in your mailbox.
Thank you, yes. And you don't have to do it today, cause this payroll was all done, but by the next payroll, if you could put it in my, and I did put one in Chris Mann's check, because I did speak to him, and he was all for it as well. And hopefully Tabitha will be on board with it,
I'm sure she will.
and I would just as soon do no checks, everybody get direct
That's
deposit,
right.
perfect, yeah.
Thank you
Checks
for
are-
doing that. That is amazing.
And it
Yeah.
saves you from processing all those checks and everything. And there's a record, they have the money, it's not getting lost in the mail, or no one picked it up,
And no
or,
one has to deliver it.
yeah, right.
And do you know where there are more checks? Cause that little box is getting like way down.
I used them all, I think it's in that big white box,
In the state.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Okay, we'll move on to the clerk's report.
So speaking, it's kind of segueing right into this topic, is that I created timesheets in our Google Workspace. And I actually shared it with Tabitha yesterday, because she had mentioned that she didn't have a timesheet to put her hours in that she spent, I think it was yesterday.
Monday,
Anyway, and so, this is just, I'm running it by you guys. It's an electronic version, and, you know, I don't know how you feel about it, Denise, but you can, if they put hours in it, then you can see them. If they don't put hours, then they don't get paid. I mean, it seems like when I was an engineer, that's how we had to do it. You submit a, timesheet. If you don't submit a timesheet, you don't get paid.
That's how I do it too, Susan.
Yeah,
If
and
you're not mature enough,
yeah,
If
I mean,
someone's
it's their
contract-
responsibility, and the only thing is that you need a Google account to do it, and I don't know, if Chris Mann does, so,
I'm thinking he probably doesn't,
but they do Facebook, so I wasn't sure.
yeah.
There might be a way around that, I'll look into it. If you can make it a public spreadsheet, there, you might be able to just, if you can get onto a web browser, you don't necessarily maybe have to have a Gmail account, but
Okay,
I'd also be happy to help them set one up, it's just
and
gonna
I'm
be.
not sure
Yeah.
if you can legally not pay them, you know, but in my case, if you don't fill out a timesheet, and you may not get paid that payroll, because the
right,
payroll
no,
person's
that's,
doing
and
the payroll.
that has happened
Then you
to me.
need to actually, fill it out with the hours that you didn't put down, but then it has to be signed by, like, the trip leader that day, that can look up and make sure that you did guide that day, or whatever, you're doing. And anyway, there's a process to go through to get
Right.
paid, but you
No,
don't
right.
make the payroll that week because it's already processed and gone.
I can tell you that's happened to me, cause
Yeah,
I
And
have
then
never
you
been
just have to
a
wait
fan
for it,
of
but
doing
at least
timesheets.
there's a process,
Right.
yeah.
So, when I shared it with, Tabitha yesterday, she got it immediately and said it was easy to use and she didn't have any issues with it, so.
Good.
And they should be sent to Charlie, right, cause Charlie does
well,
the
he
initial,
can,
he gives me,
right, but he can find I can
Yes.
show you where they are here, so that you can then just open them up and see, they're the ones that are gonna have to change the dates on them and, you know, whether they worked on Monday or Sunday or whatever it is, so I think, you know, maybe it's too complicated for like Chris at the dump, you know, maybe he just does the manual one.
Yeah, I don't know if he has, I don't know
I
if he
mean,
has left.
you know, I go up there every Sunday, he gives me his timesheet, I mean, it's pretty straightforward,
Okay, so, but,
and that's,
okay,
So you can have, Chris Mann can enter his through Charlie, I mean, if Tabitha wants to send one electronically and you wanna print it out, throw it on the table,
okay, I mean, that's.
as long as it's documented and it's, we get, doesn't matter what comes in, correct? I mean, do we have a standardized payroll, timesheet?
yeah, he's got one, and he puts his, when he started, when he quit, how many hours, he
Okay.
signs it, and I sign it.
Yeah.
That's how it's been going, so, and then I
Okay,
put it onto the payroll report,
Yeah.
Well, we
and
can leave
supporting
a,
documentation.
we can set up Tabitha a mailbox and put her payroll slip in it, she can do it that way, I mean, whatever.
Or she can do it electronically, it's just, I need to be able to have it on every other Monday, that's when I.
right, and I
That's when
can
I do
show you
payroll.
where it is, I
Yeah.
mean, if she's comfortable doing it in our Google Workspace,
Fine.
this is our space, our, whatever, just, it seems like that might,
That's fine, but I think with Chris, we'd be better off just to stick with what we're doing right now, to be
Yeah.
perfectly honest with you, and that's, unless that creates a huge.
All right, anything else on the clerk's report?
I did just wanna comment that the election went out, I mean, went smoothly and the ballot clerks were awesome, but I know that I probably won't be able to use at least one of them next time. Denise, do you use 2 or 4 ballot clerks?
2 ballot clerks and a registrar,
Okay,
and me.
okay, but the ballot clerks are the only ones that count?
And the warden.
Okay. Anyway, so they picked up our, tamper-proof boxes for the ranked choice voting thing. I don't know how or when we get those back, but I guess that doesn't really matter. I think that's, yep, that's it.
Okay, I think motion we accept the clerk's report.
A second?
All in favor? All right, the minutes, anybody got any issues with the minutes? Make a motion we accept the minutes as written, well job, good job.
Second. Did you make a motion? Or not yet? Oh, not yet.
No, actually, no, I'll have to go back over this. Yeah, I make a motion we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
I saw something on
I was like,
it.
well, wait a minute.
All in favor? Yeah. Okay. All right, old business,
What are the minutes are dated, what are they?
October 15th.
24, 10, 15 minutes? Okay. And who second? Sorry,
Charlie seconded.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, old business.
I don't know if this comes from old business, but I just want to take a second to thank Denise and Susan for doing what they're doing. We were in such a mess, and we appreciate it so much, and we feel very confident, and I want to thank you. That's, yes.
You're welcome, that was very nice.
It was.
Congratulations definitely are in order for you, for both of you stepping up in a time.
Congratulations,
No
we're
question
very
about
lucky
it.
as a town to, absolutely.
Oh,
I'm not just being
absolutely.
biased, I mean, really to have, you've got experience, Susan got experience, transitions. been
Don't
nice.
worry about mistakes. If
Yeah, there'd be a
you
little
make them,
few
it's all
blips, but
a
we'll get it
learning
done.
lesson.
Well, it's been so smooth considering how fast it had to happen and all
Right.
that. Yeah.
Right.
So, old business, I have, Denise asked a question one day while we were both in here about, petty cash. And this was on here, that's what maybe caught my
Oh,
eye.
right, yeah,
We haven't got a petty cash thing done yet, have we?
no.
No, we
So,
approved it. We just
it's
have
been
to-
approved,
Mhm.
so the treasurer, one of the treasurer people, has the approval to take $50 out of the account and make cash to put into the safe and make change.
Yeah.
and then make it documented, and whoever the next person is that goes down to make the deposit can
Take the check.
take the check
Yeah,
and.
it'll have to be put, like, maybe when you do the ATV warrant to pay Ben, you can put that on there.
The petty cash?
Yeah, I think you can make it out just to cash, or Camden National Bank, is it, what do we use? Skowhegan Savings, I
Right,
get the towns confused. Just write out to Skowhegan Savings,
okay,
petty,
$50,
yeah,
okay.
petty cash, and then you can go cash it.
Cash
Or
the
you can
check
make it
in.
out to cash, I don't even know, do they still
Cash,
do
I
that?
think, normally.
Yeah.
Make it out to cash, yeah,
So basically writing a check to cash
Yeah.
ourselves.
yeah, it
Well,
has
you
to be
can
on a
make it out-
warrant.
You can make it out to the bank too if
Yeah.
you want, because if you lost the check going to
Yeah.
the bank, then it's, you know, anyone can make it out, but
I'd
you
call-
can make it out to
I'd call
Skowhegan
first.
Savings Bank.
Yeah.
The memo.
This is what I wanna do, how do you want me to
Yeah.
make it out?
Right.
The memo,
Okay,
we
we
would
also
say.
are
Just
gonna
withdraw
need a
$50.
little.
Right, exactly.
Box of some sort to put, cause,
Probably could, but we have to document
Could
it.
it be that, I was
We
thinking,
need-
could it be that gray, the gray bank bag that sits on top of the check safe? Could we just keep it in there?
no, I think we should have like a, you know, an actual box, it has quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies,
Okay.
Can you get one on Amazon?
that's what I'm thinking.
Just
All
a
right, next
small
time we
cash
do an
box,
Amazon.
yeah.
For office supplies, we'll add that too.
And by the way, I did order, I got my debit card to work and I ordered Tabitha's
Oh,
cleaning
nice.
Yeah, we all.
supplies.
All my new business stuff is getting covered in old business.
Woo.
That's all right.
Yeah, nice.
I was gonna start the gratitude train, I was gonna ask about the
So-
debit card, Tabitha's
Okay,
needs.
so, and then to buy a box, okay.
Yeah, so do we have to make a motion to approve the purchase of a box for the petty cash?
The
Probably.
cash.
I make a motion that we purchase a box for petty cash to keep in the safe.
That's not too expensive.
No, of course,
Not to
I'll
exceed
second.
the petty cash. in
not
it,
to
no.
exceed
Yeah.
$10.
We don't want
Well,
to-
10, you might not do well with 10, but not to exceed the amount of the cash it's gonna hold.
$50
You order it,
cash,
you order it.
$100
We have a
box.
$200
If
petty
you
cash
keep it under
box.
10, you're gonna end up with something for Fisher Price for
I
a
like your
2-year-old.
idea of the gray bag, that's what I have. for
Yeah, it's-
I
cash.
like that, I like that.
I just have a bag like that.
We're not, it's not like we're
With
doing that many
change
cash
it all mixed
transactions.
in? The
Well, they-
change?
It's not like we're doing that many cash transactions, right?
I just have a bag, you know, a bank bag, and so there's a certain amount of money in the bank bag. And when you go to replenish it, the cash that's in the bag plus the receipts that are in the bag add up to the $50. Or maybe they add up to $42, cause you have $8 left. Then you go to the bank again and cash a check for $42, you know, to replenish it back to the 50 or whatever, but,
I guess when I used to do BMV here back
yeah,
in 2018, we had, you know,
yeah.
a
Well,
box so that
maybe
when,
it's
so
around.
the
I wonder where it
change
is.
is
Maybe it's still
organized.
here, yeah.
It could be, and then when I worked in Emden doing BMV,
Mhm.
same thing, they had it's just a simple box,
Yeah.
but it has,
Pennies, nickels, dimes,
It-
quarters.
Yeah, so
it's
that
almost
when
like a
you make
fishing
change-
tackle box, it has an upper layer for the change
Yes.
and underneath you put the
right, so
bills,
in,
yeah.
and
We've
I
got
don't think
approval
that
for
would
that,
really,
we are on board for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so moving
I
on
like to be
to,
organized.
any more old business? We'll move on to new business.
Everything that I was gonna bring up was covered, just to confirm though, Tabitha stuff is coming.
To her house, actually,
Okay.
I had it, shipped to her house, I talked to her yesterday.
Okay, just so
Okay.
someone would be there, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
So
that
I
it
have
wasn't-
new
yeah,
business.
exactly.
Does anybody else? Cause this one's a little
I
bit.
do.
You do?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
My new business is regarding Susan's agent fees.
Okay.
Because apparently she hasn't been getting them. Is that correct, Susan?
That's correct.
Yes, and that's wrong. So every time somebody registers a vehicle, they pay an agent fee. And that's supposed to go to the agent, which is Susan. And that's actually part of her salary,
Okay.
is that $5 fee. But I don't know where along the way,
I can tell you, somebody had disagreed with that fact. And I don't know remember exactly how it came out.
It was Karen.
It was Karen. Oh, that's what it was. It was
Karen, the
said-
auditor,
An auditor who said that there has to be an article in the warrant and approved by the town, voting
But I
for the
feel
agent
like
to get the fees.
that agent has been getting the fee since Barbara.
I agree.
Barbara has always, when I was a treasurer, we always Barbara
I have a
always thought the
solution.
agent fee, so somewhere down the line, way back
That
somewhere, it
probably
was
was never
approved.
approved either.
I have a solution. Because we need to get it approved according to Karen, this and that. We keep track, I'm sure you can keep track of how many people that you register.
Yeah,
And
I've
this-
got that spreadsheet, I've got a spreadsheet.
Right, so hear me out. At the end of this year, we'll bring it onto the warrant and saying, we need voter approval to pay Susan the agent fees that she deserved, but we can explain the whole thing. And that way you keep track and you'll get it at the end of the,
Yeah, because she was kind of, she came into it sort of mid-year and
I
there wasn't
agree.
any meeting.
Right, so
Yeah,
there's
that
no
would make
language.
sense.
And we
no
probably
language.
don't have the minutes from when it was approved, how many ever years ago.
No.
Right,
Yeah.
If
Cause
it ever
even the
was,
short
I don't
period,
They might have just done it.
even the
whatever.
short
I think-
period, I was BMV agent for the town, I got paid my agent fees when I left.
mhm.
Yeah, well, didn't you say today that it's one of the most complicated town jobs?
Yeah.
I mean, I just got today an email with some, whatever, corrections that I have to make, and I'm just like,
Are you okay with it being at the end of the year,
Of
like town
course.
meeting time? Instead
no,
of- okay.
I was okay with not getting them, but I.
Well, you should.
I
But it's not okay,
appreciate you,
because
Denise.
that's
We
not
all
the
agree,
town's
I think it was
money,
the
that's
Karen that's right,
the
that
agent.
was the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we save the $5 agent fee and multiply it by how many ever people she registers. And put it on the next year's, annual
Article for.
article.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'll make
And
an
that
article
agent
for
fee
it.
is attached to any transaction that is done by the BMV, whether it's a registration of any sort?
no,
Whatever.
there are guidelines,
There are guidelines.
there's.
Are there different fees for
From-
different kinds of
yeah,
things?
Well, for a re-registration, I think it's $5, for a new registration, it might be $6. I don't know, but because I can't do new now anyway, it's
Yeah.
only $5,
Gotcha.
so yes.
When it comes
there-
time though, and there's multiple different, we'll just have to make sure we keep track of not only the number of transactions, but what appropriate fee is attached to those various transactions.
I
so
have
we
a
can-
spreadsheet that delineates, the excise tax, the agent fee, and
Okay,
because
Make it clear and just
also
get
in,
one-
and
one
also in Trio,
Yep.
actually, when I,
Yeah, you should be able to
actually
print
see
a
it,
report.
yeah.
Just on agent fees?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Well, because every single registration has to pay excise, agent fee, and
Yep.
state fee.
Do we have a place where we're documenting, making a list of what we're running, what we wanna put on for articles next year?
That's a
That's
good
a
idea.
really good question.
That's something that I think we've talked about a couple of times, and it'll probably fall by the wayside if we don't start keeping, a running tab.
Notes
I
are
agree.
Amazing thought, yes. What we did last year, basically, was we just used the year before,
Yes.
and then we
Try to
tried to,
remember.
Right,
we
well, that's what I mean, so-
yeah.
No, but it would be good to have that, and this would be one of those things,
Yeah.
that would be on there. Same with the OCR,
I'm just making.
request
it
for,
Yeah.
funds for the, trail system.
Yeah, so
Well,
if the
yeah.
clerk, if we,
I'm making a document right now.
you're gonna make a
Yeah,
document
I'm
right now?
doing it right now,
All right, perfect.
And at the same time that you're asking permission to pay her for the cast fees, you could put in there that,
Retroactive.
well, going forward,
Yeah.
you're going to
Yeah.
pay those.
That's how we'll word it, we'll
Yeah.
give her the retroactive agent fees, and
And
we'll
moving
And
forward.
going
approve her
forward.
to be able to collect the agent fees.
Right, yeah, so cover it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it every year.
Okay, so I got two things for new business. One, tomorrow, we're, releasing the dam, the Moxie Dam, the water, drawing down the lake. I've got a couple of emails, had some correspondence with Mark Leathers. There's still a boat in the water. And they've elected to leave that boat in the water. I've sent it to the town email, my correspondence with Mark Leathers, and his correspondence, and Mark Leathers, who is the association's president, his conversation with the camp owner. So it's in writing, we would be covered if anything was to happen by drawing the lake down. And my worry is in the spring, when the ice comes up, it's gonna slice those pontoons wide open. I worry about that, but we won't be liable, is what I'm saying. So, just wanted everybody to be aware and on record that we will be drawing the lake down around two-ish, 2:30. a meeting, I think Charlie's gonna come, Leon's gonna come, we're gonna do the picnic tables at the same time and winterize the dam. My second order of business is, I've had conversations with, Jonathan Lenzion. He bought 2 lots on the Shirley Tote Road. And he's been inquiring since they opened up that lot 5, the one that the town owns and leases to Mr. Davis, that we have access to the overflow part of the north end channel, north channel. He wants to put power, he wants us to share the cost to put power down that road, which is our right-of-way road, onto a lot that we lease, and utilize that road to make himself a driveway. I've told him that we're in no place to do that at this moment. I've had several conversations with him. We've had some discussion, and I think that's another thing we want to talk about at next year's town meeting, is that you can add to that list, is what to do with these lease lots.
Yeah.
I'm still in the transition with the lawyers about the Ida's old place, because according to the state, CMP owns that building.
Really?
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We pay electricity for
I'm
that building.
telling you what the fucking, excuse my language, I'm telling you what the
You're in
state,
good company.
they sent me an email and said, I'm sorry, but our record shows CMP owns that building. Can you prove otherwise? So.
Do you think the deed was never registered? The transfer?
Because this
deed?
came from the state registry of deeds.
It did?
Yes, so,
Maybe it was never registered. You know, like when you buy a property.
that's where I am with this. So, along with that being said, we've been discussing amongst ourselves, because this is really a thorn, all these lots
Mm-hmm.
are being leased. And why is a municipal leasing lots for $1,000
I
a year?
agree, I
Right,
agree.
so let's get some revenue, but until we get this matter cleared up,
Right.
we really can't move any
Right,
further on this.
right.
So, we need to,
You must have had a heart attack.
oh, you don't even, you saw my reaction, yeah.
Sort of like my liquor license, like.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So he sent us this long email, and I'll read it. It says, to the Township of the Forks, in June of 2024, we purchased lot 206 on the north end of Moxie Pond. Since then, a new driveway marked 97 Davis has appeared along the northwest border of the property. We learned from the local assessor, David Rancourt, that this is a town-owned drive from Indian Pond Road to land owned by the town, but currently leased to a private party. Tim Davis, in question mark. We are inquiring about the possibility of securing passage across approximately the first 100 yards of this drive to the nearest point of the northwest border of our property, and from there, we would aim to construct our own driveway and bring residential power into the interior of our parcel. Gaining access from this side of our property would allow a driveway that encounters fewer obstacles across flatter terrain and would therefore be more efficient, less costly, and less destructive to the land. In turn, we would gladly contribute to the long-term improvement of the regular maintenance of this shared section of the existing drive. We would also help fund the installation of power along this first section of the drive, from Indian Pond Road to the point where our driveway would split off. Perhaps we could provide the name of the current leasee so we can include them into the conversation. Thank you, Greg Johnston and John Lenzion.
Help pay
Huh?
the cost of power on our stretch? So
Exactly.
they're gonna ask us to pay for some of the power
They're asking us
that we
to,
didn't want on that stretch of road to begin with?
absolutely, yes. So I've had this discussion with them, and I've been as polite as possible to tell them, it's not something that we're gonna even entertain. I'm not asking the people to do this.
Absolutely.
We wanna sell this, you know, so he sent this, he didn't like my answer, so he sent it to the town email. tag, anybody else wanna step up and try a correspondence and say, no?
I mean, you could say no in a variety of different ways here. You can say, the town had no intent in putting power. Are we willing to let them?
Or allow them to use that as access to
So,
their driveway?
I'm seeing it as two different things. If we wanna allow them a right of way to use the driveway, that's a different thing. If that's where they wanna run the power, and they wanna ask us to pay for half of the cost to put in the power on the stretch of road that is on the right of way, that's a whole other ask, and I think that's a hard no. That's like, first of all, we didn't plan to use this road, second of all, we certainly didn't plan to power it, so if we say yes to the first part, and they wanna pay for all the power, my first thought is that it makes the lot more attractive when we go to sell it at market value, that there's power on that lot. Is that one of the lots we were gonna sell though? I thought that was one we had to retain because it's our access to the north, spillway.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
If that's not one we're gonna sell, then that's a moot point. But if it's a lot that we were gonna sell, and it's got power running to it,
No, I think lot 4 is the one we can't sell.
Okay.
Lot 4 is the one that's in the wetlands.
okay.
Lot 5 is the one that's on the corner that we have to drive down through to get to that.
Is that where that other person built, didn't some man up there build a road into his?
Yeah, this guy
That
Tim
was
Davis
ours.
did.
Huh?
This guy Tim Davis,
It's
it was an
okay.
old road, he
Right,
improved it.
Okay.
With the town's permission, Sandy gave him permission to do it. He improved an existing road that's
Okay.
already deeded on our maps
Okay,
for the town to access and maintain the North Channel.
Yeah,
okay, okay.
so that's not a lot, the lot that has the access to the North Channel is not one we're gonna be able to sell.
We
for
can
some-
sell that with it, as
But
long
is
as
it
we deed it
buildable?
with, yes,
Okay,
but as long as we have a deeded right of way.
Oh, sure.
we have to maintain the right of way.
So that would be in the sale.
If, I
You
mean,
put that in the deed,
could-
yeah.
do we, let's break it down. Is there, what would be the pros and cons of granting him a right of way to build the rest of his driveway off of it?
Well, then that whoever buys that lot, you're giving
There.
them also.
It's a
Yeah,
shared
that will
driveway.
go
Shared
with the
driveway,
lot.
Which is not that uncommon up there, right? Caribou Narrows and stuff like that.
Right, yep.
I don't think until we have, come up with a comprehensive plan about how we're
I
gonna
like that,
manage this
yeah.
property, that we
Yeah.
should be making
It
any
just muddies the
deals
waters.
I
with
agree.
anybody about using that property
I
at
agree.
this point in time.
Because the people may not even want to sell them, or they may want, you know what I mean? We don't know, this is not our decisions. We could make a recommendation.
If you bought
Right.
a lot with no access, that was your doing, and, until you know what the town's gonna do with those
I
leases.
agree, and I agree with Charlie,
Yeah,
you're
and I
right.
agree, and I understand what you're saying about the long term, thinking about it, and
yeah,
how.
My thought was we're not gonna pay for it. If you wanna put power on that road to your house, and then it's there for whoever we sell that to, it's just
Yeah.
it
Well, it'll be
improves.
partway there, because again, like, it looks like, so,
He just wants the
there's
first
the
100
road
yards.
crosses one lot and it goes to this one that is the
Right.
lease, okay?
Yeah.
He wants to go partway down it, it sounds like, and then go off it up to his
Yeah.
adjoining lot.
Yeah, okay.
So that power isn't going all the way
So
down
it
to
wouldn't
the
even be
end.
all the way there anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
I think the easiest thing to say is like, this isn't even a question we can entertain until after our next town meeting, because we're
yeah,
unclear.
that buys you.
And I tried to tell him that.
The future of those lots are unclear.
we're in the process of developing a comprehensive plan of what we're gonna do with
That
that
sounds
property.
nice.
And until that time, we're
I
not-
wouldn't allude to him so that it gets out that, well, I mean, I guess we're considering selling it, but I just,
No, you can't talk about that yet.
yeah.
No.
Please. You
Well,
do-
Butch isn't gonna be happy about Ida's place if CMP.
Nobody is.
My God.
I'll be honest with you, I wish I could.
I think that's
The
gonna
town
wash
just
out.
paid
They just must not have.
$57,000 for
I
property.
gotta call us,
Yeah, we might get a lot of tax refunds
Do we have
if CMP is
any,
supposed to be paying.
do we have a deed to that
this is,
property?
so, I don't know this.
Yeah,
When the lawyer, Peabody, drew up the paperwork to sell that building, they must have done some sort of title search, correct?
Right.
So, I have to get in touch with Peabody, and I'm
Well,
sorry that I dropped the ball.
that's right.
This has just come out yesterday,
right.
so.
And if they did the title search and didn't do it properly, they're liable. I mean, you buy title insurance,
Exactly. So,
Yeah, you're
this-
right, yeah.
This is the next step that,
You must have had a heart attack.
this one's a little bit out of my league.
Oh, my God.
Time
So-
to get, that sounds like it's time to get an attorney involved. for
Yeah,
sure.
so, that's my new business, I make a motion that, we allow us to, correspond with a lawyer to figure out this,
Absolutely.
The ownership.
this, deed inquiry from the state,
With Eaton and Peabody,
for the Eaton and Peabody, yeah.
I second.
Oh my.
And I think I forwarded that email to both of you, or I sent it right to the town email.
No, you sent it to us.
Okay, good.
That's incredible.
Yeah, my head was swimming after I read it.
Yeah,
Of course
right?
it was.
I mean,
Like
mine
the
too.
ARP one I'm gonna send you later.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, so I was just flabbergasted, and then,
Oh,
and this guy keeps hounding me about it, I'm like, I'm sorry, but, no.
yeah, right. You
No,
know,
we're just not in a position to be making decisions
No,
about
no, we're not.
utilization of that land without a comprehensive.
And I tried to explain to him that, I'm in a, trying to figure out the legal status of this other law, and I can't do anything with these other lots until I figure out,
right, right.
Yeah.
so if you could word somebody, I've tried.
I'd be happy to send it to the office email, I think, I'd be
Yeah.
happy to respond. Do you wanna respond as well, both of us, so he's
Sure.
not trying
We
to,
could-
I
yeah,
think what he's
Why don't
doing
you
is,
just, if you wanna draft it, and then
divide and
just
conquer.
Three
draft
of us?
draft it and send it to us, and we'll make some edits if we think they're there, and then we'll all three sign it, and.
That's
Okay.
good.
it's gonna be pretty brief.
Yeah.
Just, we're not in a position at this point in time to be making major decisions regarding use of that property, period.
But they'll be the first to know when you come up with the plan, right? You will reach out to.
Well, what he's
them.
doing is he
Make
didn't
sure
like the
you're-
answer he got from Dave, so mom said no, so now he's going to dad.
That's right. Then he's
That's
gonna
exactly
go.
what it was. I saw,
And make sure we'll implore him to be, in attendance at the town meeting in June.
So that's something I'll do that, I'll draft that and then send it to you guys.
Okay. Anybody else have any new business?
I just have one question, and I don't know if I can interject it here, but do any of you know anything about the fiber optic service that's supposed to be coming here, or supposed to be here?
I know of people that are hooked up and running, and they love it, and I figured by now I'd be getting sales stuff
But
in the mail.
in the Forks there?
Yeah,
hooked
at
up?
Buzzell.
They stopped at my house.
Yeah, they've come to our house.
I
Well,
haven't seen
they
a thing.
blocked my driveway for over an hour the other day. They were very nice. There was no issue with that at
Huh.
all. Because they had to run stuff by. This is my problem. I signed up for it. Consolidated Communication disconnected my internet
Oh my.
because I signed up for that, and it was supposed to be hooked up today, 1 to 3. And I got a call yesterday that said that they need to do more work in my neighborhood. And they don't know when it will be available. Consolidated Communication says they cannot hook back up my router.
Oh no.
He even went to a supervisor, the supervisor said no. And so I'm like on hold here, and he said he has no idea when it will be available.
Get Starlink,
Well, I
You
gotta
gotta
do
come to the
something.
town.
get Starlink,
So,
How do you do
I
that?
wish I had
you have to
that
order the
contact.
equipment.
He didn't give me a
That's an
contact.
expensive patch, if she's gonna get
Yeah.
Oh,
eventually,
yeah.
Let's,
They aren't ready in our,
That
But
sounds,
there are
sounds
people
like,
in the town that
No,
have.
they-
Ed Buzzell is hooked
No,
up
they
on Moxie
keep-
Road.
I don't think they ever came to install it, cause
Okay.
Sandy was supposed to have it,
Okay,
and I signed up for it. And I
and
was,
you don't have, do you have an appointment? No?
I did,
And did they cancel your appointment too?
I canceled it,
Okay.
but I don't think they were gonna come anyway.
No,
I got that vibe when I called them because I was gonna try it for a month but keep Starlink, and then I'm like, I'm not
so
paying
you
for two
actually have
different.
Starlink?
Yes, and
We
he
do
talked to
too.
me in to like trying it, cause I could cancel
Right.
it after 30 days.
Right,
And then I'm like, I don't wanna pay for 2 internets, and I like Starlink, and I like Elon Musk, so I'm just staying with
Is
it.
Right.
this
So-
just for your residents, or for the whole,
for my residents.
not for the business
Thank
stuff?
God I
Yeah.
didn't sign up for it for the bit, because I
Yeah.
decided I would sign up my house.
Yeah.
And then I would then work on signing up
Try
the
it out.
business,
Right,
because, but
So,
I
yeah,
could
this
not
sounds like,
believe-
so,
I called
But
them and
isn't-
said,
isn't-
could you just reconnect my consolidated, communication one until they can get me an appointment? No, we can't do that. Once it's disconnected, you can't reconnect it.
that sounds like a utilities commission
For
problem.
that's what I said, I'm
Yeah.
going to the PUC,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, that's crazy, I mean, the internet now is like
Yeah,
it's a God-given right.
well, I'm
basically.
77 years
No,
old, I
that's
don't
why
think,
they're-
I don't think you can
Like
leave me in
water.
my house without an internet connection or a
Yeah.
phone line,
Yeah,
Right?
because
Yeah.
they canceled them both.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's
gonna
crazy.
put the old lady trick. I just-
but it's the same, and from what I understand, Consolidated effectively owns Fidium. It's the
Yes,
same
That's what I
company.
thought.
That's
too,
right.
yeah.
It
So
was
it's-
Consolidated Trucks they
Yeah.
blocked my driveway,
Yeah.
putting in the stuff.
But I have, Ed told me yesterday, he's hooked up, at his place on Moxie Road,
Mhm.
$35 a month, and he loves it. I don't know how.
Well,
See, they told me $70
That's-
a
I
month.
and they told me 50.
Yeah,
I swear they're just pulling these things
Yes.
out of the sky.
Yeah,
I think it's got something to do also,
Where
if you're
your
gonna rent the
location.
router, it's less, that's the internet price, but the router might be $25 a
Oh,
month.
you're kidding?
I don't know, I think it depends on how,
yeah, this
if
was
you
all
provide your
the
own
equipment, this was everything,
I
they
do
were
know-
gonna provide all the
$50,
equipment.
yeah.
If you provide your own equipment, then they charge you more for the internet.
Yeah,
If you rent their equipment, they give you a discount on the internet, but then you're also paying them for the equipment.
okay.
And it's just,
He just told me $50 for 100 megabytes or whatever they are. I
Yeah.
don't know what they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I
that's probably
recommend,
way more than
I think you're barking up the right tree at the PUC on that, and I think if
Alright.
you get them onto it, I think that Consolidated will get a phone call and
I will take care of that
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Now, speaking of which, are we here at this office gonna switch to Fidium?
well, I think like most people in town, everyone's waiting to hear how it goes, and so far, I've got mixed reviews.
Geez, don't disconnect the other
Yeah,
one.
let's-
Still
let's
here
I
on
wait
the
don't
and see.
know if
driveway.
the prior administration had committed to that at all.
Yeah. Would they have that early
I don't know.
before?
Right, didn't they have a presentation here?
They did, but that was to
Last
bring it to the community.
right,
Right.
we
As far as
pitched
us-
in $3,000, I think.
As far as us changing our service, I think we can make that decision down the road
Okay.
as we want to, and see what the
Right.
price difference is, and if it saves the town money and it's
Yeah.
as
'cause-
good or better internet, then I think it's a good idea, but I'd like to wait and make sure that it's actually up and running in the town
And the bucket was
successfully.
out before we
Yes.
swap over.
And
We
then,
don't need that anymore.
if they can't get you
No.
hooked up to service in time, so what happens if we have a big storm?
Well, I know. I
That
can't
was my
even-
concern.
I can't even
I'm like,
call the
my
fire
Starlink
department in my
doesn't go
house.
out.
I mean, I can use my
That's
cell
why we
phone.
didn't switch, because Starlink, it works if you have a big storm.
Yeah.
So I think that right now Starlink does have
You still
like
need
a
power though, Starlink.
special
Yes.
on there.
Where do you
Like,
get
it used
But
to
we
be-
have a generator.
Yeah, you guys are set up. for it.
Yeah,
What
we have a
we don't know.
generator.
I mean, how would I
Yeah.
contact Starlink? Call
You don't,
Elon and
that's
his
the thing,
office?
You have to order it online.
You do?
It's expensive,
Okay.
it's an expensive
It's,
setup.
well, it used to be $500 for the initial, equipment, but now
Okay.
I think they're running a special that it's $250, is that?
So, as
I
we,
think it was.
as we list, if any more new business, Charlie, what do you?
New business,
New business.
financially, okay, we owe, as of November first, the county $129,000 and change. What I got, and there's a notice in there, through the 15th, we had accrued $330 worth of interest. I believe the interest, there's a document in there that shows that it's quite a bit every month.
8.5%.
I think it's, I put the bill in your bin.
It's been in the payables to be approved bin for,
It has been, but now we're being charged interest.
Yep.
And what I'm saying is I got a thing that said how much the interest is gonna be each
It's like
month.
$800.
Something like that, every month.
Mhm.
So,
This is the accountant?
the county.
the
Oh, the
county.
county,
Somerset
I'm
County.
sorry.
Is
I
it-
thought-
are we
Yeah.
I thought
behind
that was a
a
lot of
year,
money
or-
to go.
No,
Oh, just
no,
this year?
yes, it's for this year, but I think the first, it was due
Well, it's got to do with the taxes probably going out a little bit late.
Right.
And that's being so broke.
It was due October 1st, I think, and November 1st was the date that interest would start. If you
Yeah.
didn't receive
Oh.
payment.
And I don't know if we've received them, tax monies from the corridor. We should be getting
I
100.
put more in your box today, so it
Yeah,
might be.
it usually comes certified, so you have to sign for it. Cause it's usually like, probably be over $100,000.
Yeah, we need that check.
Yeah, we do.
Because the other thing that's
But they
coming
don't
right,
pay it until, they usually only pay it like the day before it's due.
well, they might split it this year too.
I
because
know,
we're
I was
offering two
thinking
payments.
that
The
too,
other
that's
thing is, we got
gonna,
a bond payment coming right up in December on that road, that's I think it's around
70.
$78,000.
yep,
So I'm just saying, what I'm thinking about, is we need to look at where we're at here soon and maybe start paying down that county bill, so at least we're not paying as much interest, you know, but I obviously need to make sure that we have enough to continue to pay our bolsters, our CMP
yeah,
and our
I think
radio.
right now there's around 90,000 in there, and I don't know what her warrant was total. This is just rough
Yeah.
estimates.
19.
Oh, that's not bad, I mean,
There's 90 in our general checking right now.
Yeah.
I think it's about 70.
yeah,
Didn't you say at a previous meeting that last year this happened because the town was going through what it was going through and they were a little bit lenient with us on?
Yeah, they weren't,
They weren't.
no.
kinda like the IRS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the.
So the question I have is should we be looking at trying to,
At
throw-
least make payments?
throw some money at that sooner
Yes.
rather than later?
I think we
How
do.
much?
I think we do. I think we do.
Yeah,
Let's,
Hi, you're late.
do we have a rough idea what our operating costs are from that, you know? Like how much,
I feel like it's all over the place, cause we're always paying back bills, right?
so we
It could
can't
be
really
figured-
say
it
that
could
we
be
need
figured.
20 grand for
You
next
could go
month.
through the last 6 months and.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking, if we did that, we'd have a rough idea how much, then we could take whatever's remaining out of that 70 and throw it towards that.
Like maybe 10 or
10 or
15.
15.
Every little bit's gonna help.
Yes, holy crap,
Yeah,
oh,
so, I don't know how to, cause I don't know the numbers, I don't know how much we could afford to just, you know, I don't wanna, like you said, throw it and,
Yeah, and then find out, okay, oh, we can't pay bolsters this month, we gotta start paying them interest because
Right,
we
right.
spent it all on that.
Yeah.
How about, I'll take a quick look at, maybe last year's, cause see, some of our costs go down this time of year. I mean, the dump, the bolsters is gonna
Yeah.
go down, but of course now we've got the
pay plowing,
yeah.
you know, kicks in, so.
Gotta use sand and salt right off too.
Yeah. Do you have a seen the salt report for us, David?
Yeah, yeah.
We had to pay, Bolster's August charges for some reason.
They never sent an invoice for August.
Oh, they never
They
did?
sent it late. Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, oh my.
did you
what's
pay
going
the
on?
trio, didn't we owe them a lot of money?
Nothing.
11,000.
We owe trio 11,000.
Yeah, that's in that, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Not in this one, it was the previous
The
one.
previous one, so that's paid. All right.
Is
How about
that-
I'll do a,
Is
try to
it
get,
negotiable with the county if we could tell them why our tax bills went out late because of all of our mess in town? And would they give
No,
us
they
any
don't care.
break at all? No, okay.
it's,
You're
What-
good at that, Charlie. I thought you could kind of
Well,
talk them into helping.
well, no, I
If
couldn't.
we set up a payment plan, isn't that what you do when you have a bill that you can't
Well,
pay?
I could talk, let me get an idea of what our monthly costs are this time of year, you know what I mean, by going back and.
Yeah, I really hope they don't, I bet they will though, because if they have an opportunity to keep $50,000 in their account, they're
Yeah.
probably gonna, that's how big
We
companies
shouldn't have
operate.
said, I thought we
Oh, you
did,
mean like,
wait a
you
minute.
know,
The NECC,
Did-
their bill is probably over $100,000, their tax bill.
I thought, didn't we have a conversation that we weren't gonna give them the opportunity, we were gonna give the, I don't know if we did that.
Hopefully that wasn't
I think
set.
when we stuffed the envelopes, the plan was not to put that letter in those.
Oh, it was not the,
Not to put the letter in,
But we did offer them to split up their payment.
that was automatic, it came on the bill,
And-
so two things, yeah. So. Well, let me try to get an idea of what our costs
yeah,
are.
because I bet you're right, Denise, because I bet you're right.
Usually they
50
pay
grand in
it,
their account for 6 months or 3 months, the interest is,
Right, they're gonna earn, yeah.
I just realized, yeah, I've got a new business now too. I heard you say that you didn't know when they were due, and the tax collection information website was not updated with the language about 2 payments. So the dates aren't correct on there either.
No, the tax collector page has never been, that, you know, I don't know what
That
to
was-
say about it.
That was, part of it, when we made that decision to allow 2 tax payments, part of that motion was to update the tax collection page to reflect the new
Okay,
collection.
so I should probably get in touch with Peter then,
Yeah.
and just,
I thought it was.
I don't know.
There's a separate, when you go,
At one point, I thought that,
when you Google the Forks Plantation, okay, you'll get the town website.
That's from all.
But if you put Forks Plantation Tax Collector, it comes up with another website.
Well, when you go to our website and you hit local government, tax collector, tax collection info, this is where Evan pointed, that's where people would go to find out how do I pay my taxes.
Right.
This is still the same dates as, there's nothing on here about 2 payments, said it was, they're due November 15th. It doesn't reflect what was
Okay.
decided
November
on.
15th.
It does have, it does
So
have, it
they
does.
should have paid it by now.
Well,
Well,
no,
the-
because
the
everybody's
actual
actual tax bill says now that you can pay it in 2 days.
Right, but that's the first payment is due on November
No,
15th.
12/31, this is
No.
not
Oh, that's
accurate.
old,
That's
so
what I'm
everyone's
saying.
taxes are due by 12/31.
Half.
so
Yeah.
Evan was the one,
Okay.
I kind of did, because Evan was the one who was working with Peter on that
Okay, so
page,
just
and
didn't
I
get done.
didn't, I guess I dropped the ball on that. for
I mean, it
sure.
at least has that supplemental letter that went in all the envelopes, there's a link to that, so that was updated. So that was plopped into this webpage at some point, but the actual verbiage of the webpage.
Doesn't have 12/31.
It doesn't have the
and then
right dates,
4/30/25.
So bottom line is, we have to wait till 12/31
Oh,
before we
great.
get that.
First,
We have another
This is
month
all that
before we
was put
get
in.
probably the bigger payment.
Yeah, they're not, they send it the
This
day
top line is all
before,
that was put in,
So,
it's due.
but everything
All
else
right.
is inaccurate.
well,
But you're right, I think we should pay them like as much as we can to get it down. If it's 25
Yeah,
a
whatever we
month,
can do.
20 a month,
Yeah, whatever we can do to defray the interest.
that's a lot, $800 a month.
So we're gonna make that decision after you research it, Charlie?
Yeah, and we can do that by email, I think.
Okay.
If I get a rough idea. But the thing is, I need to know how much money we have, which right now, probably most of these checks are being cashed, so we just have the payroll checks that are outstanding.
Mhm.
So within a day or two, the balance that we have in there should be,
Well, by Friday, his checks
Well,
are ready for
yeah.
Friday.
okay.
Yeah.
But I could subtract those. is
Yeah,
what
it
I'm
was
saying,
like
from the balance.
$4,800, the payroll total.
so that brings it down to 65. That's good.
All right, well, we were running for a year with right around an average balance of 20 to 30,000, so.
That's scary for a
I know,
town.
but
Oh,
That's where we were.
Unbelievable.
I mean, when I came last year, we had to pick and choose what we paid, when we were in the same position.
And that's why
And we
we,
paid quite a bit of interest on a lot of these bills
that's why
last
we,
year.
that's why we're sitting here.
Right.
That's why it runs taxes.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, any more new business? Clear as mud?
We'll get it, may take a year.
We make a motion, we adjourn,
Second,
all in favor?
hi
Well,
Chuck.
again, you're just doing a terrific job, and I applaud you.
Thank
Every
you.
step of
Thank
the
you.
way.
It means a lot, because, it's
Well,
not,
Sorry I'm late, I didn't get back in time.
seriously,
no worries.
I will be more than happy to stand up at town meeting when it starts
You
and
take
just
care
tell
of
people
those
what a
areas.
fantastic job you have done.
Well,
And what a
And I'll
difficult
draft
job
that
you have had
email
to
to
do.
the request to have you guys, and I'll try to
Yeah.
get an idea of.
Anybody that criticizes should come here, or it feels like criticizing, or are out there criticizing now, should come and listen. to see-
Absolutely.
Understand what we're up against.
That's
because
right.
This isn't as,
Watch the videos.
yeah,
That's
this
right.
isn't trying to clean up this mess, like I tried to say about the OCR, I mean, It's
Oh,
hard, it's hard to come up with, ask for money when you don't even have it, right? We're talking about how we gonna pay our county tax, right? Okay, we gotta put 25 more grand, you know?
I
You know,
know.
But when they say that if you can just come up with a portion of it, they really mean that. Like, if you can only come up with $2 or $3, $5,000,
Right.
if it gets approved, the project is still going on, cause they're gonna go out and they're gonna raise money,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't mind,
yeah.
I mean,
I
if
think
we
I
can,
think it behooves the town to consider it, because I think it's, if that project
I
goes all the way through, it's
that's
gonna
a
be,
big deal.
it's gonna make
You
a
know,
big.
There's-
$1 million project, that's a
Yeah.
big deal.
I
It's
feel
not a
pretty
project
confident
with
that.
90% of it coming from state and federal sources, that's
Yeah.
like,
Hey, I'm
I
all
feel
over it.
pretty confident that the voters will approve it, but,
I think,
do.
the,
you know, this, it's voting. You
Well,
never
that's
know.
another thing that needs to go on that agenda too.
But I
We gotta
wouldn't-
look at our approval, and we
Yeah.
go right down that, giving money away to all these clubs that, some
That's
of them
right,
don't even, you know, we
That's
looked at this last time, right?
that's right. We've got to address that at town meeting,
I
to
agree.
start with. We cannot just blanketly approve all of those.
No,
I mean, people have their hand out and we don't have any money.
well, that's it, that's.
We were told last year too, the way we did it, because we had like one article and
Yeah.
then we had all
I
these
think that's a
things.
mistake.
We can either approve of the entire amount as written, or we have to put an article for
Individual
every
article.
single one.
Oh,
That's what
really? So
Karen
we gotta
told
go
us.
every single one then, because, or we,
Or we just say no to donations.
You know, as
until-
soon as
until
they,
we become
as soon as
fiscally
they send the
responsible
donation
or-
letter to you, there should be some kind of blank, I mean, some kind of standard letter that you just send back and say our town is in financial straits
We're not in a
and
position to help this year, so.
we are
Yeah,
not in a
the
position, and
people are gonna be-
but please remember to, you know, ask us again next year when we,
Right,
but there's some services out there, you know, like some of the ones that come help David Cunningham, you know, that, that are
Or the
Pretty
snowmobile clubs and the ATV clubs, they rely on our money.
and we can, and
Fireworks.
that's the
Yeah, but
thing, is
they
that
get-
those requests technically have to be seen by the townspeople, so we can't just say no.
no,
We have to present it, and we can make recommendations as a board that we don't,
that's true.
but we can't
Yes,
just say no.
but that's never been done at any town meeting,
It's
Justin.
also,
They've
I
never made
understand, and it's
any
also
kind
at
of
the,
recommendation,
it's at
it's
the-
always just a blank, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, and
Because we've always had plenty of money.
that's right.
And it's
But
always
last-
at
Or we thought we
The
had.
last 2
it's
years.
always at
we
the
didn't.
end when everybody's.
it's always at
burnt
the
out.
end of the town meeting, when
Yes.
everyone's like, yes, get me out of here,
Yes,
yes. get me out of here."
yes.
That's what happened last year.
Yeah.
Like, just all of them, yeah, we gotta
And I
go.
think that perhaps we should tell the people that, well, we can tell them that we're in financial straits and we suggest that they come to the meeting and make their case, you know, but the first question I'm going to ask when that comes up at town meeting is I want every one of them to tell me what they do for fundraising.
Yeah.
What do they do for fundraising?
Right.
You know, I remember, you know, there used to be that Labor Day, big affair at the Fish and Game that the Moxie Club used to do. They had 10 cents in there.
Wow.
Tickets, and there were dinners, and
Yeah, I don't know
They
what
made
they.
This is what the OCR presented, Chuck, before you got here. This is what the Old Canada Road presented before you got here, this is the West Forks portion, so that's not really relevant to us. This is the work they're proposing,
They were so impressed.
Right?
through a DOT and federal highways grant.
It's not just
the,
that, I mean, no,
helipad